Alrighty, we are live. I don't think there's much of a delay really, but let's fucking go. Welcome back to the dating coach panel. I've done so many fucking episodes of this, it's crazy. Last time, on the last episode, I did a 24-hour fucking panel, and that was ridiculous. I'm amazed because let me make sure I actually fucking record this thing. I'm amazed because so I know Brian came, New City Mastery. He came along to that for a little bit, like 8 hours in or something. I'm amazed because every single minute, apart from like 10 minutes in two spots, there was always someone else on the stream. I was only alone for like a total of 20 minutes, and it was like the final 5 minutes and something like that. But anyway, we're gonna get started with this shit. Drop your questions in the chat. Super chats will be prioritized. Today, the questions I have lined up in advance are generally more focused on practical things and what we can actually do to move the needle in everyone's game. But there are some interesting things for us to react to. But before we get to that, just super quick, where are you guys joining us from? JT, where are you joining from?
Beautiful Los Angeles, specifically Hollywood. How's it going, guys?
There we go. How about you, Joe?
I am down in Florida, so nice and sunny down here.
God damn, I'm sweating myself so far, and I'm in Lima. Jordan.
Hey, what's up, man? Scottsdale, Arizona, dude. It is absolutely beautiful today, like mid-70s.
Yeah, he's in the fucking dark right now. Marcus.
The best city in the world, my man, from Sydney, Australia. Living it up right now.
Nice.
And Brian.
You're on mute there, brother.
You guys can hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. Weather's terrible.
There we go. Already, I want to share my screen for something pretty fucking weird. First thing I want to do, just make sure we get some sound here. Zoom in a little bit. So me and JT kind of wanted to talk about this kind of thing. This is like super new. When was this? Only a few days ago. This video has gone viral in the last few days because of this Looksmaxxer, or as I like to say, Fakemaxxer, was doing his streaming thing, and then a guy behind him, who you can see right here, decides to, or it looks like he had a wingman there just like convincing him to do it, decided to rip off his hat, and just look at what happens.
Whoa!
Hey, what? Yo! What? Bro, that is going viral as fuck. I just got a hair transplant, bro. Woo-hoo-hoo! Alright, that's a fucking viral clip. That's a fucking viral clip and a half. Woo-hoo!
I reckon the boss looks better.
Goddamn, crazy times. Have you guys seen this? What are your reactions to it?
Yeah, I mean, Looksmaxxing as a community and live streaming has gotten like very mainstream with Clavicular and all of them. Sort of reminds me of the old Project Hollywood and pickup artist days as this enters kind of like the mainstream. In all fairness to Androgenic, though, he actually posted that he is like, balding and working on this on his TikTok. So it's not something he's tried to hide, but obviously he went super viral. So kind of feel bad for like everyone making fun of him. It's like, oh, he's got like, that fake hair, but hey, it went viral. So
I don't know. Kind of a rude thing to do. Pull somebody's fucking hairpiece off, even if it is fake. Not super cool, but I don't know. There's some validity. You should definitely do everything in your power to look good as a man. I think everybody on the panel would agree. Like most guys can increase a couple of points, and that does matter. But it looks like the number one end all be all. No, and so people probably take it a little bit too serious. But whatever. It's in the zeitgeist right now. It's all male self improvement. I'm on board with it.
I mean, if you take a look at women, they got fake nails, fake hair, fake eyelashes. They wear heels. So as a man, I think it's okay to do a little bit of cheating yourself, but there's always balance, right? And I think that with this guy's case in particular, the wig is probably doing too much. If you're a little insecure about your hairline, just put the hat over it. I think the hat would have been fine, not all the hair and stuff.
Don't rip another man's hat off, man. That is violating the bro code.
I remember
Don't mess with somebody's hat.
I remember it was like one viral video and at someone's gym, and like some kid took off like the dude's hat and he just like slapped him. That was hilarious. Yeah.
That's funny.
Brian was talking about height maxing. This makes a woman 8 inches taller, so she can finally reach me.
Yeah, I have no idea why people care about this clip, to be honest. I mean, as JT said, he has documented that he's got a hair transplant. He's documented that he's wearing a wig. It's not some like, oh my God, exposed. What the fuck? He was lying to all his fans. Like, he's been promoting this. Some fucking loser comes up, takes off for attention. This guy's loving it. He gets a bunch of attention. Like, I mean, I don't know what we want to talk about here. Yeah, sure. If you want to throw on a wig and it makes you look better, do it. I agree with New City Mastery. Sorry, I don't know your actual name, but New City Mastery. Like, yeah, like, would there be a clip where like there's a woman where her fucking nail falls off and they're like, oh my God, it's fake, and it goes viral and some shit? Like, who cares? We should normalize this. If guys want to chuck on a wig or get a hair transplant, let them fucking do it. Like, yeah, I don't see what the big deal is.
I was thinking, like, again, I'm totally dating myself, but Neil Strauss would go out with a wig too, right?
Really?
That wasn't
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like something that he would do often, but like to experiment with how women would treat him. So I remember that. And to New City Mastery's point, women are the original Looksmaxxers, right? It's like, so what if like guys are sort of adopting this? I mean, it is, as Jordan was saying, you know, we should all improve our sexual market value for sure.
I mean, I think
I wanted to.
Go ahead. If I could just say something real quick. Yeah, I think what makes the clip viral is his reaction to it, right? It's not just that his wig gets pulled off, it's how he reacts and the way that he is like viscerally upset and then goes after the guy, right? So I think that's where, if there's dudes watching this and they're thinking about Looksmaxxing, what I would probably tell them is like, hey, look, you know, put a couple of inches in your shoes if you want to, but anytime you're doing something where you're afraid to be found out, that is not going to be a good idea, right? Like, that's kind of where you're crossing the line. And I get it. Like, you know, that guy's a streamer and it's funny and it's like viral, so he benefits from his reaction. But normal situation views aside, if you're, you know, if you're doing something to improve your looks and you're afraid of getting found out that bad that you're going to like react and chase somebody down, that's where your mindset is like totally fucked.
I don't even know that's the case. Like, if you watch the clip afterwards, he's kind of like, oh, that's going to go viral. He's kind of laughing his chill. I think like if someone took your hat off and just started running away with it in public, I'd react the same fucking way. Now, maybe I am balding, so maybe it's not a good example, but if I wasn't and someone took my hat off, like, I'd still react the same fucking way. Like, if someone took my backpack or some shit, like, and started running, yeah, I'd be like, what the fuck? Don't steal my shit. Don't touch my shit. Don't touch me. Like, what the fuck? And his initial reaction was that. But then he was like standing there chill. He wasn't like, fuck, end the stream, cover it. Like, and to his point, like someone else mentioned this as well, he's been doing videos the whole time about his hair loss and shit like that. He wasn't hiding it. So I agree. Like, if you're super insecure about something, then you should fix the insecurity as you kind of fix the problem. I completely agree. I just don't think that's the case here. I think he just reacted because someone stole his shit.
I would agree. Yeah, I mean, I think his initial reaction, if somebody messes with you physically, like, you're kind of justified in at least a little bit of like, hey, what the fuck are you doing kind of thing. And then he backs off. He's like, all right, whatever, I'm gonna calm down. It's not that big of a deal. So I don't know. Is this like a conversation about Looksmaxxing overall, or just about the clip?
Someone takes your shit, it's gonna be annoying. Like, I have plenty of times when I was in the nightclub and wearing shades obnoxiously, and then women would fucking steal the shades right off my fucking face. One time I even had to call security because the fucking bitch who stole it pretended that it didn't fucking happen, and she was lying to me. I knew she fucking took it from my face. I fucking watched her do it, lying to security. Security made her open up her bag and it was fucking in there. So it's funny. Like, it doesn't matter if it's like hat or anything else. It's just like, it's your personal property. You got to retrieve it. Well, there is another thing I want to show here.
Well, I was about to say, I think there's
This
a
is on
difference in
Brian's.
the-
This one's got to be rage bait,
Let
dude.
Devin in here. This is on Brian's Instagram, New City Mastery. So we're gonna play this.
I'm like the most professional like Looksmaxxer, and I'm already like pretty tall. So I like doing this shit. And this is what you do if you want to get like really autistic about it. And I learned this from a buddy. So when you come home, right, and you have to take off your shoes, what you do is you have to set up what's called vantage points. So you would take like something. I'm not gonna have vantage points. So you put a vantage point like here. So that way you take off the shoes, and then you go, you like rest on it, and then you set up the next vantage point like right over here, and then you just make it to the bedroom. That way you're good. So that's.
Are you trolling on the vantage point, or
No, I'm being dead serious. A buddy, I learned that from a buddy.
So
So
6'2" doing this.
well, yeah, bro. I mean, like whatever.
Do everything except for set up the vantage points. There's nothing wrong with having a couple of inches in your shoe, but if it's more than that, don't even worry about it, because if you come home and you're scared that she's going to see that you're a couple inches shorter and that's going to make her break, then you're fucked anyways.
Because I'm like.
Here we go.
As probably like the shortest guy, I'm 5'4". Like it doesn't matter once you get her home. Like she's at your place. It literally does not matter. Like one thing I'll do is like, make out on the couch, and then I'll like literally just pick her up, right, and just throw her on my bed. She's at your place. So it definitely has to be rage bait, or like his autism is like going overdrive at this point.
I mean, I gotta assume he's joking in that clip, because there's no way that that's true. You can fucking hopscotch or Frogger into the bedroom after a date when some.
Listen, this man's made a career off of trolling and rage baiting and being extreme. Like that's all that's going on here. Is he's just doing what he does.
That is
I
one
was on
thing.
his meth protocol. Are you telling me this? He's just trolling this whole time?
Nah, there's no way he's trolling. Like everything he says, he does, and he sounds pretty just truthful about it. Like we got to remember, this guy's 20 years old. He's said he's autistic, and he's clearly got some form of like body dysmorphia. Like I would not be surprised at all if he's set up these points in his house where he can like chill there for a bit as he's like leaning on something or he's a bit tall. Like that doesn't surprise me at all. We got to remember, this is the same guy that has done what he said. He's had multiple surgeries. He's like punched himself in his face. He's put on makeup. He's done all these things. Like I don't know why we'd assume that the trolling part is him putting like a little elevation in his house. Like I think that's probably the least controversial out of everything he's said and done. So
Yeah.
do you need it? I agree, JT. Tran, you don't. But.
Mentally ill, or he's just working the algorithm. So I don't know. Yeah, if that's the case, yeah, mentally ill, we probably shouldn't take his advice on game. If he's trolling, then the respect to him. Good job, built a career. I take my hat off, man. More than I've been able to do.
I mean, I think that this is a huge difference between like the
Trying to get
Looksmaxxing
attention,
versus
for
the
sure.
entire sort of like dating self-improvement is the trolling. Like there is this definitely undercurrent where they're not really looking after the best interests of their audience, right? Well, I like to think that those of us here are coaches, like we want our guys that follow us to actually improve. I remember watching a clip and he was like joking and like, oh, you bought my merch. It was like completely like the most mediocre. And he's like making fun of the people that was buying his stuff. Right. So like there is some helpful stuff in the Looksmaxxing community, but it's definitely like this very self-serving, like just, look after number one versus like what we try to do here.
That's a great
GT,
point.
why do you look younger every time you're on here? What the fuck's
Jesus, I agree. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I do skincare maxing. I do the full 10-step Korean skincare, buddy. Like I do Looksmaxxing, although I like to think of it as like look optimization. I don't go as far as these guys do.
You
You're
should
looking
make a
less
Looksmaxxing video.
Vietnamese and more Korean.
I'm a big fan of Looksmaxxing. I believe in it. I think it's fucking hilarious that all of these like terms have come out around like grading guys on that scale of, I don't know if you guys know what that's all about. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, like, it's
I think that's
the new pickup community, right? It's like we had our terms, and now they have Gen Z has their terms.
yeah, I like it. I think
Here's the funny thing. It's like, at least with game, there's like a very obvious okay, I understand Looksmaxxing. It's like we can do this to attract more women and stuff like that. Pickup, there's a lot more to it, and there's in some aspects a deeper purpose, and eventually you can get into a relationship, have a family, and whatever. But when your entire identity, especially the guys who are pushing this, who are streamers, and that is their identity, it becomes a little weird, because then, like, if you look at their Instagram profiles, it's just nothing but pictures of them like almost half naked. And like, I was looking at this androgenic, I don't know, Instagram profile, and there are like more kids on there than there are women. I was like, man, even when I was much younger, I still had more women on my profiles than this guy does right now. He's got more kids on his profile and way more men than he does women. It's kind of funny.
If you think about it like stats, like a video game character, sure, like Clavicular, he's got his looks max stat maxed out. But if you listen to a podcast with him, it's like watching paint dry. And a lot of other guys that I know that are good looking, jacked, whatever, they have spent so much time in the gym on working on themselves, on their looks, that they can't hold a conversation to save their life. So it's like that stat needs to be worked on as well too. Your presence, your aura, your ability to carry that conversation.
Yeah, I agree with Devin here. Like, and it's not just about attraction. And it's hard to maybe say this to an audience that may be struggling with the women, but like, if you look at him, if you max out a stat like looks, sure, he'll get attention, right? He will. But you look at his interactions with women, it doesn't look like he's enjoying himself at all. It doesn't look like he likes women, and it doesn't look like he has good relationships at all. Like, that's also a skill you need to develop. It's not just about like, I need women into me. This guy clearly seems like, it honestly comes off as like a woman that got hurt in a relationship once, and now she's like, I fucking hate men. And every guy that comes up, she might get attention from guys, but she's like, I fucking hate you, right? I don't need no man. It's kind of like the thing I get from him, which maybe the audience like may not relate to at all, but that's also like a skill you need to learn, is actually like enjoying your relationships with women.
It's a very passive way of existing, right? He wants, all these Looksmaxxers, they want to look good, so women approach him, right? As opposed to being proactive about it and making something happen, to everybody's point of like displaying charm and personality. Like, oh, God forbid that. So it's a very sort of like, you know, quote unquote, like beta way of existing, or like approach me so I don't have to like be scared of talking to a girl.
I've got a question for the panel.
Like, if people are going to work, sorry, I'll just say my piece here and then hand it over. But I think if people are going to work on themselves, looks is an important thing you should maximize. I think pretty much everybody here is in agreement on that. I think we just think that maybe there's other stats that also matter, and it's not only the looks. That's literally my only contention with the Looksmaxxing community. Apart from that, focus as much as you can, be the best version of yourself. Part of that is your looks. Be in the gym, fucking have a skincare routine, great, get a good haircut. Like, these are all things that I would tell a guy to do who's coming to me. Like, if he has bad style, cool, go dress better. It's just cool. That's kind of like the baseline, and then we go work on the other social shit on top of that.
When I was first getting into this stuff too, I would see some good looking guys I knew that were jacked, in shape, all this stuff. And yeah, the girls were coming to them, and I was kind of jealous too. I was kind of fat, chubby, out of shape. And I'm looking around like, okay, there's something here. So then I went, hit the gym, got in shape. I noticed a couple more girls giving me attention. But then after a while, what I noticed was that it wasn't really the girls that I was really interested in. And so I had made it a habit to wait. And sometimes, yeah, girls would come up to me at the bar, but it was never really with the girls that I really wanted. And so what I'm getting at here is like, yeah, sure, you'll get some attention, but the really attractive women aren't going to lead themselves into your bed. You still have to do the work, and you can't keep avoiding it by focusing on one thing.
Here's a simple question when I think about this guy, because people send me his clips, and, you know, he's doing it for entertainment and whatnot. And obviously he's looks max. He's a good looking guy, but the simplest question, asking to a group of developed men right here, would you want to hang out with this kid for a day? Like, I wouldn't. Like, he looks like he's weird and has like, is not fun, no sense of humor. Like, he doesn't seem like a down-to-earth, cool guy who has value that you'd like to bring into your social circle and go out and talk to women with, like, plain and simple.
Yeah, a lot of them are just sort of like getting into the bus for the clout, right? And that's what I see.
It's a good question. Like, no cameras. If he didn't have the clout, would you want to be hanging out with him at the bar, the club, wherever, right? Would you want to be shooting the shit with him, having a beer, having a coffee, whatever?
I actually saw one clip where there's, I don't know his name, but some Miami coach was out there, ran into him, and he was like, "Oh, I teach cold approach." Like, "Oh, can you approach these girls for me?" Right. So either he's getting girls to come up to him because he's got the camera on him, he's decent looking, or he's getting someone else to approach these girls. Right.
Is that the one with John Anthony? Or is that another?
No, this is recent. Like I saw it like a couple of days. Some short, maybe Hispanic guy, Indian. I'm not too sure, but it was someone in Miami, and he was doing the code approach for Clavicular.
Wow.
Marcus, did you say you had a question for the panel, or was that Joe?
Yeah. I'm curious what you guys think, because like some guys mentioned they think this is like him trolling. I'm curious, like out of all the other advice he's given, I'm curious if you think any of that is like trolling for attention or if it's real. Because like I feel like there's a lot of crazy shit. I'm wondering if you guys think that anything else is like trolling and not like authentic advice.
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be a bit of both, because if there are streamers, like I was thinking about this in the last few months because I randomly met some Peruvian streamers and kind of turned a random approach with a streamer into some infield using their footage. But it's this funny thing because looking at that Androgenic guy, his numbers aren't that much stronger than mine on Instagram. And my YouTube channel is much bigger than his. So it's kind of funny. Like I was literally just thinking before we went live a few hours ago, if I literally went out with a light box and just a random person holding phone, just like filming me around, of course people would come up to me. Like I had plenty of times 10 years ago when I was doing random experiments to try to elevate some kind of or fabricate social proof. Like it's not that he's necessarily being recognized, but it's because they're filming, and you don't have to, if you just see a random person and you don't know who it is, but you see that other people are going up to them and they probably don't even know who it is either. They just see a fucking light and a camera. So, they must be some kind of fucking famous guy. A lot of the time, they don't even actually know who the fuck it is. So it's kind of funny because I could literally just go out the side and probably do that to a similar effect. Although I'm just like a more homeless looking version.
Yeah,
It's
like I've had like
the parallel live app,
and like women will gravitate. It's like, oh, there's like a full camera crew, so that's definitely happening. But back to the original point, I definitely think Clavicular is trolling, but he does have some good insight, right? I remember one where he's talked to Larry, the huge bodybuilder, and his wife. Larry's the guy that slapped that. That was like so insightful because she kept answering for him, right? And he was like telling him, like, Larry, like, she's taking control. Like, she seems to be manipulating you. And so that was like really like honest, like coaching advice as opposed to just looksmaxxing that really delved into that relationship and what Larry seemed to be lacking, at least, from what we could see on the camera.
Yeah, I saw that too, and I was nodding my head. But it's so true. I mean, you see guys like King 6'8" the Great walking down the street. Yeah, he's a tall black guy that looks like he's a basketball player or a celebrity right there. But then if you see two cameras following him with lights, like I used to make prank videos, and what me and my buddy did was we did a prank video called Pretending to be Famous in Public, right? So I would walk up on my buddy. Do you know who that is? Do you know who that is? And then girls would actually start crowding around, going up to him like, "Hey, how's it going?" And then vice versa. So you see a camera on someone immediately, like even walking down the street, you're going to take a double take. Like, who is that? Do I know him? And then it's that.
Yeah. I forgot to mention, like, if I literally just went outside tomorrow and started live streaming, and I probably will do that actually, because there's a weird thing happening. I don't even want to explain what the fuck it is. I imagine, like, if you just started streaming me and I didn't add anything crazy on top of it, it would generally be boring. So of course there's naturally an incentive to just start doing the craziest things just for views. So then it matters less, like, the kind of advice you're putting out there, and it becomes less purified and more like, okay, you gotta try to go viral, get more views, and then sprinkle in some of your own advice. So I think it's just like, if you're reaching that level of popularity, then the purification of your actual advice and your message actually reduces. because you're actually focusing a little bit more on actually going viral. And what actually gets you viral isn't exactly the same as what you're trying to put out there in terms of honest, genuine advice that you really believe in. So, of course, like the craziest shit, you're going to focus on more.
But if we were to distill that concept essentially as social proof, right, status, on a smaller kind of micro level, let's say the club bar, you can sort of like replicate that. Like I remember taking a bunch of, we do like a Latin tour and we're in like Sao Paulo, and people thought we were celebrities because people started taking pictures with us and then videos. And then like a girl came up to take a video of us, and then more girls came up to take videos of it because we were like K-pop maxing at that point. And so on a micro level, you can create that. And now you have your in-person game, your sexual market value, and now you have status, right? So that is doable, but maybe, going out to live stream is something a little bit too far for most people, but it is something that helps if you can get that status.
It's funny. I got an example here, just trying to find the photos. Me and my wife went to the Mexican embassy was doing Dia de los Muertos event, Day of the Dead. And so she got dressed up for that. And then let me find some examples here. Just like random people started crowding. Let's screen share this.
Yeah, while you're doing that, my buddy looks a lot like Leonardo DiCaprio. So when I was telling people that that's Leonardo DiCaprio, people actually believed it. They're like, oh, going over there, taking pictures. This was in November, right? For Day of the Dead in Mexico City?
This wasn't in Mexico City, it was in Peru, but there were literally hundreds of people lining up, or not even lining up, they were just like crowding around me and my wife. And I had my light box with me, so it's funny that I mentioned this because I kind of forgot about that. But as soon as I put the light on just to take photos of me and my wife and my daughter, and we had a friend of ours with us, people started crowding. And over time, like there must have been close to 100 people just like trying to get photos nonstop. And it was very overwhelming for my wife. So we had to come up with a fucking escape plan because she was like, okay, I'm kind of bored of this. But it's so fascinating how it just goes from 0 to 100 real fucking quick. All because she got fucking dressed up with like the skull skeleton kind of makeup and whatever. And it's just kind of crazy how it works.
Well, women pick up on these social cues, right? That's why they are more attracted to men who have the behaviors of an attractive guy as opposed to someone who's physically attractive. So when you have these social cues of being surrounded, or you have like the props of a camera and a light, or being surrounded by women, then like if someone thinks, other people think he's attractive or important and popular, then he must be, right? So the ability to replicate that is definitely an invaluable skill.
It just sounds like the light box is the new feather boa of pickup.
Just get a streaming gear, a little tripod.
That'll be our new
I
lock-in prop for the future.
I saw someone is sort of like fake stream maxing, if you will, where you can download an app and it looks like you being.
It shows you have a bunch of followers.
I was
right?
just gonna say that. Try that. Try filming yourself walking around and see how women throw themselves at you. Oh my God! What are you filming? Right? Like it'll happen so often.
Yeah, it's
that
just
was a great voice. Should we all roleplay practice trying to pick up Devin with the voice?
It's funny. Already, I think we spent way more than enough time on that fucking topic. So let's move on to something else. We got some more news. There's an upcoming documentary on the Manosphere called Inside the Manosphere, dropping on Netflix soon. It's a Louis Theroux documentary. I introduced Louis Theroux and his team to Justin Waller and Myron Gaines for this. What's your take on the Manosphere and the current state of things? Funny enough, Justin just sent me a message coincidentally a few minutes ago.
He's back.
Yeah.
I saw Justin back now, yeah.
Not on YouTube, but
Oh, he's posting on YouTube. Yeah, he just started like 2 days ago. I just saw videos coming in from him.
Oh, okay. I see. Maybe it's just like using someone else's account. Anyway, what's your take on the Manosphere stuff? The Netflix documentary comes out on 11 March, so just about 2 weeks away.
Well, I hope they don't go the route of trying to make it a bad thing, like painting it out. Like, it depends, because there's so many different tiers. You got Red Pill, you got the pickup guys, you got the self-improvement, you got the Looksmaxxing. It's like, what is really encompassed in the Manosphere now?
I would say for people who profess to try to understand other people's psychology, so many people in the Manosphere, pickup, whatever, never really learned how to sort of like massage the media. Like, I'm blessed enough to have a lot of media TV interviews of me, but I trained myself on how to deal with reporters, right? And how to pivot or frame my answers in an acceptable way to at least my audience. And you have guys that are completely willing to that. And you know what? I'm going to try to hit on the journalist. I'm going to, pick her up like there. It's like, okay, bro, like, what are you doing? So the odds of them actually producing something that is positive, I'm going to put on the very low end, to be honest.
Because I think a lot of people, what they tie into the Manosphere is like Andrew Tate. Like, that's the number one name that comes to mind. And so I have a feeling they're going to go that route of like misogyny and whatever else is kind of painted in the news. But yeah, I'm curious to see what that
is. Isn't it funny? That you just said like they lean towards Andrew Tate and something I mentioned to the documentary crew was, why aren't gay people considered part of the Manosphere? Surely, if this is about men, like, why is there this strange focus on heterosexual men when we talk about Manosphere stuff? Surely homosexuals are part of the Manosphere. I didn't start talking about John Anthony lifestyle, but I might as well further in. But, it's a kind of funny thing. Shouldn't the gay community be part of the Manosphere? It just
I don't know, dude. I don't think they have a problem picking each other up.
For sure.
I think as men, we have to study a lot more because we're just kind of all horny. And so the world tells you no real quick. But if you're gay, it's kind of just like, hey, are you horny too? And then boom. So that's probably why but shit, dude. I don't know. The Manosphere is like a hard thing to define, I guess. That's maybe what the documentary is trying to do. I think anything that's trying to help men better themselves is inherently good. I think just personal development, self-growth, these are all amazing things. And obviously there's going to be good and bad actors. So just as a blanket statement, it's hard to have an opinion, dude.
Can you guys see
is there like a synopsis in terms of like what that is going to cover?
The trailer looked like they're going to talk negatively about it. It looked like a guy who was really skeptical and they're going to talk negatively about it. So
I mean, who are they interviewing, guys? It's like Myron Gaines, did you say?
Myron Gaines is in there.
Yeah, I mean, this should probably be negative, to be honest with you. Like, if you got Myron Gaines on there talking fucking shit, all this red pill rubbish, then yeah, I mean, it probably should. Like, how do you expect anything come positive out of Myron basically saying women are shit?
And then buy my new book, Women Deserve Even Less.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I agree with JT. Like, there's a really nice way to explain the Manosphere and game to women in a sense that they completely understand. Like, if you just talk to a girl and you're like, yo, are you sick of guys coming to the bar and just not knowing when the fuck to leave? Like, there's just no social awareness, right? Like, they just keep going. You say you need to go to the bathroom, then they follow you to the bathroom. They don't get it. My job is to teach guys how to understand women, how to actually give them better experiences. Like, blah, blah. There's a way to explain this. But like, if you go and get interviewed and you say, women are pathetic, they're fucking useless, they've done nothing for society, they deserve, like, how do you think this is going to be spun? It's not even spun. Like, what they're saying is actually retarded bullshit. So like, yeah, this documentary is just going to be painting a negative light on fucking the Manosphere through a red pill lens. But I mean, that's, again, it's like, it's what gets the views. So what do you do?
You mentioned something very interesting there. You said about effectively a pattern interrupt where you come up to a woman and say, aren't you tired of all these stupid men saying the same shit? Let's talk more about pattern interrupts like that. Can you tell us more?
Oh, good transition.
That was killer.
What was your question to me? Sorry, I missed it.
Yeah. But so you expand on it more, and then we'll probably just talk more about that kind of concept.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think about this so much as like a pattern interrupt. I just think there's two concepts that I fall back into, which is one of them is framing, right? So like in that example, you just want to frame things in a way that makes it easy for the person to understand and moves you both in the same direction. So like if a girl hears what I do for work and thinks I'm manipulative, then like she's not going to want to speak to me. So you need to frame that in the right way. And then the other concept is being unique. So when I go and speak to a girl, I don't want to walk up and say, hey, I think you're really cute. I just saw you from over there. I know this is totally random, but I just wanted to come say, like, every single fucking guy is doing that. Or walking up and just being like, hi, because every single salesperson does that. So yeah, I want to be unique. And that in itself is going to be an interrupt to the pattern. So yeah, unique and framing is the two things that I kind of teach through that lens.
Yeah, I think probably the clarification there was, I don't think Marcus is ever walking up to a girl and using, hey, aren't you sick of these guys opening you weird as his opener? I think that's more like when you get to the point inevitably in the conversation where she's asking, what do you do? It's the difference between like, hey, yeah, you know how some guys kind of don't get it, they're like tough to talk to or whatever. You're just kind of painting, hey, here's the problem. Cool, I solved this problem. And to Marcus's point, yeah, absolutely, that frame, the basic information, the truth is the exact same. It's just you're showing her maybe why, okay, her initial gut reaction is incorrect. You're just understanding your audience and communicating, which I think goes to JT's point of media. You understand, okay, well, the media is going to have this innate, inherent opinion of the manosphere. So let's explain why it exists from a strong point. But to pattern interrupts, to what you're talking about, I think that's like one of the fundamentals of game. I think if you just learned that skill set, that can be absolutely transformational. Just any sort of unexpected positive behavior, anything that snaps people out of that autonomous kind of autopilot mind, fantastic. Just the best thing you can do.
Alrighty. I don't know exactly where I wanted to take that specifically, but I know there's just something in there about the comparison with red pill guys just like saying fuck women and shit like that compared to guys who actually understand women and can communicate in such a way that resonates with them. I just think that's a very interesting thing. Any other final thoughts on this?
Yeah, that I think it's funny because like, you guys, some of you guys have been around this for a long time. When I got into this, like 2007, pickup stuff came out. It was like, let's do everything we can control to be better, to make things happen. There wasn't excuse making, there wasn't complaining. And I mean, the red pill stuff and like putting women down and all that negative, I'm like so anti all of that, but it's gotten so popular online. It's just like the kids call it cope. It's just like coming up for reasons why they can't get the results that they want. But it's sad to me that stuff has gotten so popular, but it's just so negative, and it winds up just becoming a limiting belief that just stops you before you even start. So I'm like super not into any of that type of stuff, but they're going to do a documentary on it. So I guess it's going to be more popular now, apparently.
It's like that great irony in red pill. Like I'm not really a big advocate of the entire alpha beta thing, but in red pill, that's a big thing. But this idea that you can't control that is very beta. That is very submissive. Here it's like, okay, there's these techniques, there's these things we can do. Let's do it. Let's try it out. Maybe it'll work for you. Maybe it won't. But let's actually do something about it, as opposed to like, it's just biology. We're doomed, right?
Yeah, like there's parts of it. There's parts of the red pill that are beneficial. Understanding how women operate, so you don't get into a relationship and end up getting divorced and your money taken. But at the same time, if you just learn about water and never actually jump in and try to swim, it's like, how far is that really going to get you, right? If you just study the rules of baseball for years on end and never actually get in there and swing the bat, then right, you need both. I think both is a great, like, have a solid understanding of how women operate and then put yourself out there, get rejected, do the hard work, and learn by actually applying it.
I think that's really interesting, actually, because I'm starting to think about a red pill as essentially just a smaller aspect of game, just focused more on relationships. but they gone way beyond frame control and just gone into this whole different territory of just like being kind of negative against one. Like, yeah, I get it. Be in control of your relationships, be aware of cheating in relationships and stuff like that. But at least with pickup or dating in general, it starts you off. It's practical. You can actually learn how to actually connect with a woman. And red pill should ultimately just be stage 2 of game, the relationships aspect, but without the fucking bashing women. Just learn how to meet women in the first place before all of that.
Yeah, and you can go too far with any of this stuff. Like, I'm sure you guys know guys that are into pickup and all they think about is getting laid, getting their numbers up. They walk into a club, coffee, wherever they are, and they're just like constantly like scanning like the Terminator and they just can't turn it off. And they're just obsessed with getting laid all the time and nothing else in the world exists. So yeah, you can go too far with any of this stuff.
Hey, don't call me out like that.
Already, let's.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Let's get to some of the questions here in the chat. JT Tran claims beginners and handsome guys should go indirect and more advanced, or less attractive guys should go direct. Why is this?
I guess I'll answer first before giving up to everybody else. First of all, remember the type of clientele that I serve. Very, less conventionally attractive, typically Asian, short. So indirect for beginners and like the handsome guys allows them to work on like managing their approach anxiety, working on beginning, opening, bantering, crowd control, right? It works for handsome guys because when like 6 foot tall, like white guy or black guy goes in, the girls are going to have a different reaction versus me, who's 5'4" Asian, right? Like I can go in extremely strong, but if like a black dude or big white dude is going to have a completely different reaction from women. So going under sort of the radar, winning over their trust first, engaging their group, that can take that person in the conversation a lot further than going direct. Again, this is more nuanced, depends on everybody's, personal background, skill level, sexual market value. But yes, for beginners, I teach indirect first, and then we'll move on to direct game, especially for the guys who might not typically get strong reactions from women for whatever reasons, or might not have very good SMV, for them to see a very powerful reaction from women where they go like, oh my God, and start hugging you or start, romantically escalating on you. Like I have a info video of me in Miami where I approached 2 blondes, and you can see in 5 seconds, the girls immediately light up and both of them like hug me. Just going with like my Amazon opener, like, you are tall and gorgeous, I love you, right? And that works for me. Again, I'm a 5'4" Asian guy. Like women treat me very differently than say those of you guys who are blessed with height and looks, right? So that's my recommendation, but it all depends on the context of the student and your background.
And also embracing your height too. Like I remember I listened to an interview with Henry Cejudo on his, I don't know if they're still together, but he was dating this really hot Brazilian girl, and he's, I think, 5'4". And so he went up, he cold approached this girl. He's like, we're going out, make sure you wear heels too. And this girl was like 5'11", right? And he just went up and just owned it. But yeah, owning the height. Like if you think your height is going to affect you, then yeah, well, that's going to come off in your body language. But if you're just like, yeah, you're direct with your intentions, you're not skating around it. I like that.
Yep.
Any other comments on this?
Yeah. Go for it, Rick. Go for it.
I don't know. For me, a lot of direct versus indirect depends more on context than it does the actual guy. For example, if you have to go chase this girl down because she's walking down the street and you're like, holy shit, I got this one shot. It's really weird if I sprint across the street, try to avoid getting hit by a car, and I walk up, I'm like, hey, do you know the directions, like the closest McDonald's? She's like, what the fuck? or whatever your indirect opener is, In that situation, the calibrated thing is to actually say, hey, you know what? You're really cute. What's your name? And just fucking own that fact. That basic opener that everybody loves to hate on. Sometimes there's a time and a place for it. Versus, hey, if you're at a social gathering because you've run Instagram ads, thanks to Brian over there at New City Mastery, and shit's going well. Yeah, you probably don't want to be the guy who's walking up and going super direct and trying to hit on the girl. So I think context really, really matters a lot more than who you are as a guy.
Yeah, I was just thinking that too. That there was a guy at the gym the other day, and this girl's squatting. She's getting the personal trainer's there, and he just goes up and he's like, "Hey, I think you're really cute." And you could tell it's like, hey, he was like really hesitant when he was saying that. I mean, props to him for at least doing it. But yeah, it was awkward because then they're just kind of looking over at him like this, and then he's just like that. So it's like, yeah, it is very context based for sure.
I find these indirect game openers kind of funny. Examples like, we've been trying to reach you concerning your car's extended warranty, shit like that. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, run across the street. Listen, you need insurance. I agree with JT here. Like, this is the way I think about it and I teach it. If you're a guy that is going to get a good response from a direct opener, then you're better off doing it. So if you're incredibly attractive, or you've hosted the party, or you get a bunch of fucking girls around you or some shit, if you are going to get a good response from this girl, or maybe she's a big fat girl and she's not that hot and that's what you're into, whatever. If you're going to get a good response, then go direct, because it's going to move the interaction forward really, really quick. If, however, and this goes for most guys, you're probably not going to get a lot of attraction just from going up and being confident, then I'd go indirect and wait to show intent, or wait to get this whole yes or no until you showed a bit more value here, until you've built a little bit more attraction. Now, it changes a little bit when it comes to newbies, because some are going to feel way more confident just going direct, and their subcoms are going to be way better. If you go up to a girl and you say, listen, stop, you are fucking gorgeous, okay? I need you right now. It's a lot easier to actually sound confident, to come off that way saying it, as opposed to if you walk up and, what was the example? Like, where's the nearest cafe or McDonald's or some shit? Like, it's really hard to have good subcoms doing that. Now, you need to let your shooter know that as you go direct as a beginner, you're probably going to get rejected a bunch, which is also cool to actually deal with the, emotions that come with that, and deal with your inner world and become stronger and more stable in your emotions. So that's awesome. But yeah, long-term wise, for most guys, indirect's going to be good. I agree with the whole idea of context. In day game, you tend to have more of an ability to go direct. But even, honestly, like, even if you run across a road, there are ways to make it sound a little bit more indirect. So I agree, like, being like, where's a cafe makes absolutely no fucking sense. But like, say you did happen to stop one and you're like, wait, sorry, 1 second. I have to know, where the fuck are you from? Like, that at least sounds like a little bit more like, maybe not running across the street level, but that sounds a little bit better. And if you are going to go direct, I, again, go back to that idea of something unique, and something you actually mean. I think the problem is a lot of guys say cute and they don't mean it. You can make that opener work, but you need to mean it. If you're just like, hey, you're cute, it doesn't work. Like, I would prefer to say, listen, you're almost exactly my type. Because it's direct, but it also leaves a little room for the girl to be like, well, what am I missing? So anyway, that's my spiel on direct versus indirect.
We're talking about a beginner. The thing with the beginners is they're struggling a ton with approach anxiety. So when someone has a ton of approach anxiety, I tell them there's like 3 different things you have to factor in before you do an approach. The first is where you're doing the approach. The second is the type of approach that you're doing. And the third is the perceived attractiveness of the girl. So if you have a guy out and he's like super nervous, he like can't get anything going, telling him to, go up to a girl on the street who he finds incredibly attractive and go super direct, sometimes it's too much of a mountain for them to climb. So I'll have them do the exact opposite, all those 3. So what would that be? Like, the easiest thing to do would be a networking event with someone you don't find super attractive, and something simple like asking what time the event starts or something like that, right? So something functional or indirect. Now, obviously, you could scale that up to something that's higher up and eventually gets more direct. But if someone has a ton of approach anxiety, and look, there's something to be said for just jumping in the deep end and just going direct on the most attractive girl and like just facing that fear. And it's like the 4-minute mile. After you do that, you can do any approach. And sometimes guys are ready to do that. But if they're not ready to do that, I have them really kind of water it down just to build some social momentum and just feel more comfortable, get some good reactions, and then they could start to work their way up towards direct. You guys know what it's like when you're feeling good, confident, in state. You can just walk up and be like, hey, I want to meet you. And anything you want, it'll work, right? But if they have a lot of approach anxiety, I haven't pretty much watered down the approach based on those 3 things.
I think it kind of comes down, like, the best analogy I could use would be, it's like a chess opener. All of these are valid. All of these can work. They can take you to a checkmate and you can win. It's just you have to understand the nuance of, okay, well, when I use this opener, I'm going to face these kinds of positions. And when I use this opener, I'm going to face different positions, still winnable, but they come with different drawbacks. And so it's just about balancing that and kind of understanding that it's not really ever a question of should I always go direct or indirect. It's a question of when and where. Should I go direct or indirect? And what are the pros and cons?
And if you think about it like this, right? Like every time you go up to a girl, it's like you walking through the mall. I always make this analogy. And a guy with a clipboard comes up to you, right? If right away he comes up to you, he's like, hey, you look like you're in the market. How would you like to buy the car that I'm promoting? Right? Then you're like, well, that's a little too quick. But at the same time, if he comes up, he could be charismatic. He could be funny. You guys could relate on a lot of things. But if he just comes up to you and you're talking about your music taste, you're talking about where you went out last night, he never actually gets to the point. Then you're going to be thinking, okay, like, yeah, he's cool, he's funny, but like, come on, like, get to it here. So too much of each is not good. So if you're going to approach direct, pivot to, a little bit of banter here and there, a little bit of comfort building. And the same on the opposite. If you approach direct, it can't all just be like spamming compliments, like you're hot, you're really sexy, I think you're beautiful. So a little bit of both is great, but remember to pivot as well too. And another thing that guys will do is they'll go up, they'll do their direct opener, and then they'll just sit back, kick their feet up, and then wait for the girl to kind of steer the conversation. And then they'll brush off they'll rub their hands like, the hard work's over now, right? When that's not the case.
Yeah, wait for her to fucking touch you up and take herself home to your house for you. That's so funny. Alrighty, any final comments on this? Alrighty, let's move on to the next one then. Here's like a very important question I want to ask everyone here. What's something you wished you learned years ago?
I like that. One thing I've really been thinking about lately is it's really you versus you as opposed to you versus the results. And what I mean by that is at first, when I got into this, it was all about, get more numbers, get laid more, get better with women. And that's great. But if you make it more about overcoming your fear and acting anyways, and not holding back every time you talk to a girl, or every time you put yourself out there socially, you'll find that you're not going to burn out as quickly. And it's also too, it's like, don't set the bar too high. Progressively amp it up. Instead of, I need to get 10 numbers this week. Just go for, if you haven't gotten a number yet, get a number first and then, amp it up slowly. But I think you versus you, it's so powerful.
Something, I mean, I've learned this probably within the past like 2-3 years and really been able to ramp it up. And I wish when I was first learning game, I would have had a lot more focus on status and a lot better understanding around the idea that attraction is not a choice. It's a biological response to stimulus, just like hot or cold. And so if you act as an attractive man, women will be attracted. Then it's just a matter of figuring out, okay, how do we capitalize on this attraction that we've created? If I would have understood those things, like the importance of status, logistics, attraction better, I probably would have saved myself a lot of heartache in game.
Yeah, Olga. So the two biggest things I wish I fucking knew and would have saved me holy fuck years of my life and also countless fucking rejections is what I teach. It is two big things for me: sexual authority. So the idea that you can be rich, you can, be clever, I guess, you can be good looking, you can have some level of status. And if you max those out, like if you're like a famous DJ or something, that's awesome, but it's just really hard to attain. The easiest thing to attain that women find really tough to find is a guy that is actually dominant, masculine, and has like a sexual charisma about him. So learning that a lot earlier and focusing on that earlier in my journey would have been great. And then the second thing is the ability to understand women. These two things, I think if I knew earlier, I would have literally saved myself probably 4 years of my life going out every single night and gaming. I mean, I eventually got there in the end, and it's the reason we teach it now, but holy fuck, yeah.
I know when I was younger too, I thought that, like men are always horny, women don't want sex as much too. That was one of my biggest limiting beliefs. Does she want this? Is she into me? Like, I don't want to come off as too horny. That was one of my limiting beliefs. But just knowing that, yeah, women are horny and they want to have sex, not probably as much as men do. But I'm curious though with that example, because I know a lot of guys always make references to like Craig Ferguson interviews or Russell Brand's charisma. Is there a guy in the media or whatever who you would reference has very good sexual energy, Marcus?
To be honest, bro, I don't watch a lot of media. So like, if you showed me celebrities, I'd be like, who the fuck is this person? I'm not really sure, to be honest. I mean, if you're able to speak to a girl in a way that you come across as like emotionally stable, you're not scared to hide your dick. Like so many guys are like, no, I don't talk to other women. Like, no, I'm not seeing other women. And if you're actually good in bed, and the thing that people don't realize is it's not that hard to fucking achieve, right? Like guys think, okay, I need to have like some crazy sex dungeon with all these like things like honestly, just putting a blindfold on a fucking girl and telling you to lie down and be quiet is going to make that sexual experience twice as good as any other fucking guy. Just going down on her without thinking it's gay. Like there's so many little things that you can do to make the sexual experience better. So I'm sure there's guys in media that have this or do that. I don't watch a lot of media, to be honest with you. So maybe someone else has a better idea.
Yeah, it just made me think of that too, because I don't think I've ever heard that the way that you said that. But it is important to have that sexual charisma as opposed to just general magnetic charisma.
Yeah, like if I give examples, like sometimes I'll go in field and without shitting on people, I'll use RSD because they're popular enough, for my opinion, not to fucking matter. But like if we look at someone like Julian, for example, that's a guy with a lot of fucking charisma. That guy is amazing at building attraction. He's horrible at converting it, right? So every single fight I watch, there's a girl sitting there like fucking looking up at him like amazed. And then he takes her to get pizza. And I'm like, what are we doing here, right? And then every single time you could just lower your tone here, make it sexual and just build it up. He jokes. And it's like, cool, the joking is nice at the beginning. But when we get into the end of the interaction where the girl wants to fuck you, like, let's have a little bit of masculinity here. Let's be a little bit more serious. Let's lead. Not 2-second adventure. Like, grab a hand. We're going to mine and walk with her. And like, time and time again, like you can see guys that have, as you said, maybe like social charisma or like platonic maybe, or like game charisma, but they find it really hard to have that like sexual charisma. And that's why like I wish I was the same. Like I'm super sarcastic. I make a lot of jokes in set. I do all this like fun shit. And then I just learned that, okay, when I have a track, I just need to bring it down, hold more eye contact with the goal until like we're going to mine, you're gonna have the best fucking night of your life. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing, unfortunately.
I'm gonna share a quote that I heard recently. I was watching True Detective season 1, which is fantastic, by the way, if you guys have it. So classic. And Woody Harrelson says in one of the later episodes, it's not a spoiler, but it haunted me. So now I'm gonna haunt all you with the same quote. The quote was, do you realize the good years when you're in them, or do you wait until you get cancer and then realize that the good years have already passed you by? And I've like replayed that clip a ton of times. And I look back at my journey. I've been doing this for, my God, my self-improvement journey has been like 20 years now. I've been doing this. And the whole journey was, get better looking, make more money, get better with women. And you're always like trying to get to the next level. And it's always, when I get to that next level, then I'll make it. When I get this, then I'll be happy, then I'll be happy, then I'll be happy. But looking back throughout the years, the times when I was crashing on a friend's couch and had no money, but we were going out to pick up girls, that was awesome, right? Or I'm teaching a conference with a bunch of guys and we're having a great time, which, by the way, Ice, I want to give you a compliment and say thanks for doing this. I think it's so cool to bring all these guys together and the camaraderie of like the coaches that used to be around a lot back in the day. So it's really cool you're bringing that together. So I want to give you props for that. I'm finally at a point in my life now where I've built myself into the man I've always wanted to be. And now I'm trying to enjoy my life more, but I wish that through those years, I enjoyed myself more instead of thinking, what's the next goal? What's this? What's that? Because even when you have everything, look at celebrities, right? That have money and fame, they wind up playing piano or starting a band or something, because the journey is, I know it's cliche, the journey is the destination, but man, I really advise any guys who are watching this and trying to improve and be better, like, you can be happy and enjoy going out tonight and meeting women. You could have a great time this weekend. You don't have to wait till your pickup skills are perfect, or you have, or you look like Clavicular, or you know, you're a billionaire and you're riding Lamborghinis with Justin Waller or whatever. You know, good for those guys. But like, man, I'd really say just be grateful for what you have and enjoy all of this, because even just going out and delivering your first openers and getting over your approach anxiety, it's a cool thing, man. And you're going to look back on it one day and be like, man, that was awesome. But don't beat yourself up so much in that moment, and enjoy this whole process, man. Yeah, that's what life is.
And
Well said, man.
That was well said. That was perfectly said. To piggyback off of what Joe said there, Alex Hormozy always talks about that. He's like, these are the good old days. He always says that, and always, but it's so true. And what I've even started doing as well too is I work with a lot of guys who are very outcome driven. They're trying to move the needle at work. They're constantly trying to be productive, trying to optimize. But slowing down and just doing things that don't need a result or don't need a reason, right? Like whether it's just doing things you used to do when you were a kid, being more present, having conversations with people, not needing an outcome, not needing to get laid, doing more things where you don't need that result, right? It's like, okay, yeah, cool. You're going to still push the interaction towards getting the number, but you don't fucking need it, right? It's like, okay, did I show up scared and do it anyways? Did I hold back or not? Boom.
Speaking
Okay,
of
well,
which, on behalf of Ross Jeffries, I wish he told me this years before, but he said along the lines of, there's no such thing as approach anxiety. There's only opportunity hesitation. Once you understand it that way, because language constructs how you think about things in your reality, if you consider it opportunity hesitation rather than, oh, approach anxiety, I'm scared of approaching. Opportunity hesitation is what you should get into your head, because then you can start seeing things as social opportunities. And when you approach a woman, it doesn't have to be only for the potential purpose of having sex. Like, you could possibly meet a female business partner just because you approach her. She could become a female friend of yours. You could meet other women through her and end up having sex, not with her, but through with one of her friends, for example. If you only see cold approach through a very limited way, through tunnel vision, instead of thinking more on terms of opportunity, it's going to be a completely different experience. So we did a poll recently asking if guys see that cold approach is more of a chore or if it's something they actually enjoy and find fun. And it was something like 48%. I want to make sure I get this the right way around. 48% found it to be fun and 52% found it to be a chore. Or maybe it's the other way around. But it's pretty much 50-50. There were a lot of guys out there who consider cold approach, approaching women, to be something of a chore instead of actually something that's fun.
yeah, they're putting that pressure on themselves. Really? I mean,
I think a lot of it depends on your style of game.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I think a lot of it depends on your style of game, right? Like, for me personally, that's another thing that I've had to really come to terms with over the past like 2-3 years is I got good enough to where, yeah, I can go out to a nightclub, I can yell, shout in a girl's ear and create that attraction, get the phone number, date. I'll be honest, I'm not the guy to teach you guys how to do like a same night pull from a nightclub. That's probably some of the other coaches on this panel are better at that than I am. But what I realized is if there were not attractive women at the clubs, I would never go. And even a lot of the girls who are at those clubs, I have no interest in. And so a lot of it came down to realizing, well, why am I trying to put myself into a situation that realistically can only produce mediocre results for me? It's like, great, okay, I pull the bottle rat or whatever, and she's hot, and we hook up a couple of times. That's fun. That's great. There's a sense of accomplishment from that, but she's never going to be a girlfriend. She's never going to be somebody that I want to share something with long term. And so a lot of it's come down to optimizing my life so that I don't have to be in those situations that I don't enjoy. And it's tough to talk about that with students because there's a degree where, hey, for personal growth, to get better at this shit, you're going to have to put yourself in situations that are uncomfortable. You got to suck it up, buttercup. Sorry, that's just the way of the road. But we also have to be really, really careful about what kind of women are you trying to attract? What do you want your life to look like? We start with the end in mind, and then we back into a process, because the process for the guy who really does just want to go hook up with all of the bottle rats compared to the guy who wants to have a girlfriend who just happens to be an accountant, it's a little bit of a different strategy. Now, there's certain things, but probably 80% of it's going to be the same. But if we can optimize so that you're not spending your time doing shit you don't enjoy, that's probably more important too.
Jordan, I just want to ask you, is this a picture of you screaming into a woman's ear?
Hey, where'd you get that? I didn't realize you had infield to me.
Caught red-handed. Alrighty, perhaps let's move on to another topic here. Another kind of deep one I want to ask. Pickup artistry has a bunch of techniques to seduce women, like negging, routines, flirting, and many other things. But what does it actually take at its very core to seduce a woman? Take away all the techniques. What exactly is the core of game itself? Like, what actually gets her to pay attention to you and come home with you? What is that thing?
I mean, it depends how specific or broad you want to get here. At the end of the day, you need to be someone that she wants to sleep with, right? You need to be attractive. That's going to be like the first step. And then the next step is to overcome any objections that then move that forward. So you might have a girl that is incredibly attracted to you, wants to fuck your brains out, but she's married with 3 kids, and that's more important to her than having sex with you. So you're going to face like some form of rejection there. You probably won't be able to get over, depending on the girl. So yeah, number one is like having attractive traits, personality, in order to create a level of attraction, and then overcome any objections that might come, including like slut shame or her logistical concerns about waking up early, stuff like that. The very like basic, broad level, it's those 2 things. But I mean, if you want to get more specific than that, we can.
I think to distill it really down is that you as a man, you are an emotional penis. Your job is to emotionally stimulate her. If you can't emotionally stimulate her, you have emotional erectile dysfunction. That's it. Right?
I like the attraction versus comfort paradigm, which is more or less what Marcus just said. It's, hey, every girl is going to have a threshold for, she needs at least this much attraction. She needs at least this much comfort. Different archetypes of women, they need more comfort or less comfort, but they kind of have a baseline threshold. You need to be this attractive. And then, yeah, if she's a mother with 3 children and she loves her husband, yeah, you probably don't have enough comfort, and that's going to create an objection. I really like that mental model.
I want to be very careful with how I say this, because I remember, I think it was, where was this? Models. I read Models a little while ago, and everything can kind of be distilled down to the needy man versus the non-needy man. But some guys will think, when I say that they can just play it cool and not show intent. Oh yeah, I don't need anything from her. But at the same time, yes, you need to push the interaction forward, not hold back. You think she's hot, say it. But I think there's a huge element of this where it's just being comfortable in your own skin as well too. You don't need it to go well, but yes, learn how to deal with objections, learn how to do all that stuff too, because that will come up. And also, friends is another thing too. Learn how to, talk to the friends, make them feel comfortable. Bunch of techniques to seduce them. Yeah.
If you want to distill it down to like really simple, like if you're going to do like really basic stuff, like the first one is you need to go somewhere where there are women, right? It's super basic, but this is the core. Like these things need to happen in order for it to work, right? You have to go somewhere where the women are. A lot of people don't even do that. They play around on their phones or whatever. They don't even go. So you got to go there first off. Then second of all, you have to try, okay? Because a lot of guys go there and they don't try. You're going to have to approach, try to talk to them. You're going to have to try to get her number or escalate things, whatever it is. You're going to have to try. And then if you're doing those 2 things, and the third thing I'd add to that, which this part is actually, a lot of people don't talk about it in the community, but I think it's the hardest part to actually teach, is you got to be like a likable person. Right? Like if there's so many guys who like, they want to learn lines and routines and this and that. And we teach all that. That's great. I love my openers, my lines, my routines, my frames. I love all that stuff. But like, if you're like a good, likable person and you go where women are and you take action, like that's probably, I think, the core, simplest, most important 3 things to focus on if you want to just boil it down. to meeting and seducing women, in my opinion.
I got some thoughts on this I've been thinking about for maybe a year. I'm not going to die on this hill, but it's just this opinion I have so far. If you really break it down to what it really is, what actually happens realistically, it's probably something along the lines of leadership and compliance. Have you guys had any similar observations or arguments against that?
What was it? Sorry, leadership and
leadership and compliance. Just to briefly explain,
compliance.
There are so many guys who don't even lead in the first place.
Yes.
I think Devin was talking about it, where they're just like, let me say my opener and then hang back. Like there's a lack of leadership in a lot of men, and they kind of want to start an interaction and then they don't really lead it anywhere. They just wait for the woman to respond and then, oh, I got to come up with my next line, instead of actually leading in terms of, I got to take her. Jordan mentioned an indirect opener example, like, where's the nearest McDonald's? In my mind, the easiest way, of course, this is just super simplified, the easiest way to transition that into taking her with you is simply, oh, there it is. You want to come with me? Like, as simple as that. There's a leadership element in that is necessary. And if you can find a way to build up the compliance so that she can actually go with you, whether it's McDonald's or whatever, that ultimately tells you whether or not she's interested. Because if she doesn't go with you, she's not interested in the first place.
I agree. I think. Oh, sorry, go.
Yeah, so that is great, but a lot of guys will kind of misinterpret that, and they'll think that they need to sign first to lead. So they need the extended eye contact to approach. They need the playing with the hair, the staring in the eyes, all this stuff to express intent. And so they'll kind of say that's her complying, but at the same time, it could just be like her questioning like what's going on. But yet it's this Mexican standoff where the guy's waiting for the girl to show a sign first, and the girl's waiting to see like what's going on before she lets her guard down. And then it's just like this. So yes, you need to unapologetically lead and not wait for permission.
Yeah, you're gonna ask for the sale. I don't know if you guys have ever read Way of the Wolf, Jordan Belfort's Straight Line Persuasion. That's very similar to how I view a successful pickup. Is basically, all right, there's these little checkpoints throughout the interaction. It lets me know what the next step is. It's just every interaction is more or less the same. We need to have our opener. We need to escalate a little bit. We need to get her alone in a place where sex can happen. And then, cool, you guys know the rest from that point. It's just a matter of looking at it and, okay, what are kind of the core basic elements of this? But yeah, it's always you that's driving. It's always you that's advancing the interaction forward. You're just kind of temp checking with her. So yeah, the compliance loops, those are good, but also being able to read those indicators of interest are also good, because they can all just more or less give you a feel for when you should advance to the next checkpoint. I think that's a good way to kind of conceptualize it.
My concern with that is a lot of guys can't even read the fucking signs of interest in the first place, and a lot of guys just wait for those.
Well, that's what we're here for.
Whereas if they were leading,
yeah, you have to ask for the sale. Yeah. Like a indicator of interest is something that tells you, okay, cool, it's probably easy for me right now. Like, there's a very high probability that if I escalate in some way, you know, if we haven't met yet, okay, great. If she looks at me and flips the hair, great. That's a great indicator. Can absolutely. But in the absence of that, it doesn't mean don't ask for the sale. It doesn't mean don't take leadership. It's just, okay, we keep an eye on that and we're kind of neutral. We're at a just baseline. If she gives us a hard, like, ew, whatever, okay, maybe we're down at a 3 out of 10 interest and we pump the brakes. We don't escalate hard, but we try to recover back up. But if she's like giving you the fuck me eyes, then yeah, to Marcus's point, grab her hand and get her out of the damn room. It's just, those indicators are basically telling you as a man, because women don't want to verbalize a lot of this. I think it's just people, we don't want to verbalize a lot of this. We actually enjoy kind of the whole process of somebody picking up on our emotions and leading us and guiding us. Everybody likes to be in that state of, oh, I don't have to think. I can just relax and let this person control. And I to a woman. It really just comes down to, okay, those indicators or those compliance loops, they tell us now is a safe time to escalate, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't try. So yeah, that's a good point, but it's also kind of why we're here.
Your microphone went a little.
I think your mic just switched over to your laptop or something, bro.
Check your settings.
Yeah.
I was just gonna quickly say, like, the interest thing is funny because it's like, she's sucking my dick, guys. What should I do next? Classic joke. Go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah, I was gonna say we can just like combine these answers, I guess. So like taking from Joe. So action, I think, is super important. So getting over your AA or developing some level of motivation or finding a way to make it fun. So like action. Then we have like the attraction and compliance. So doing things that actually make you attractive with us, getting better looking, level of status, sexual authority, charisma. And then obviously once you have that, you need a lead. And so this is the whole idea of moving it forward, sexualizing, pulling. Jordan said asking for the sale. I think that's a good analogy. And then objection handling. So this is I used to use the word comfort. I don't like it because I think some guys just try to treat them like it's their grandmother and be really nice. So I've switched my language now to like trust or objection handling. Just because, yeah, I feel like some guys like ask, oh, what's like your saddest memory and blah, 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 trying to build comfort. So I just use a different word now. So objection handling, so getting over like the friend shit or her not wanting to seem like a slut. So yeah, action, attraction, lead, objection handling. I think that's a good way to put it together.
So just for the record, we're bringing them home and not McDonald's, or we're going to McDonald's first.
Depends how hungry we are. Yeah.
I got to read you my seminar on
exactly. Yeah,
but,
Big Mac close.
You could go straight to home and then do Uber Eats for McDonald's. If the Uber Eats driver is a woman, freeze them.
There we go.
True.
Looking like a true MPOA, dude. That's what's up.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
She says, "Are you going to give me a tip?" Well, that depends. You can get this one.
Yeah, leadership and compliance. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a good lens to look at it, right? Because you have to, like I was telling people, like we talk about IOIs, indicators of interest, and like you're saying, like waiting around for that stuff, forget it, right? But like you said, Ice, you make the compliance request by leading, and then how she responds, she's either going to indicate her interest and comply with you or not, right? And look, let's be honest too. If you're out at night and your leadership compliance request is an approach, sometimes they don't comply with the approach or want to be talked to, right? So then you move on to the next person, right? Or you talk to one. I mean, we've all had this happen, right? You talk to a girl, you lead, you approach, you have a good conversation, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to make a further move to lead this, right? And then you either ask for a number or you try to isolate her or you try to touch. And then sometimes you get like oh, I'm married or I have a boyfriend, right? And they just wanted to entertain you and just have a conversation, right? So by leading, you're gauging if she's interested and if you can move.
The phrase I use for this is enabling compliance, because otherwise you're just waiting for her to make a move. The whole time, most of the time, women are waiting for you to make a move in the first place. And only through then can you really see the biggest signs of interest. Can you actually see her compliance, for example?
Yeah. Leadership shows confidence. That's what confidence is. It's, I'm going to make this move forward because I believe in myself and I assume you're attracted to me. So I'm going to make this move forward, right? And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But it has to happen. And a lot of guys, especially new guys and even who've been in it for a while, like they drop the ball when it comes to leading forward, which, you know, you're never going to get to the promised land if you don't, because you can't sit around and wait for the woman to do it.
One of my biggest problems for a while is, we all know the girl that's super interested playing with the hair. We all know the girl that's like, fuck you, she won't get off her phone. She keeps texting when you go over an approach. I think a lot of guys, including myself, I used to struggle with the neutral ones. So if I went up and I made an observation, I was like, hey, you got a good taste in energy drinks there. Rockstar, okay. I like the sugar-free, whatever. And then the girl's like, yeah, no, you're right. And her eyes are lighting up. Then you're like, okay, boom, I got this. And then so you feel like you can lead the interaction forward now because you know she's into you. But if a girl looks over and she's just like, yeah, no, it's good. And then you're trying to continue the conversation. Again, you're still thinking like, is she into this? Is this okay? Should I be saying this? So yeah, it's like what the quote that you just said there, where it's like, what was it, leadership, or what was it, leadership and then
Leadership.
Sorry.
Leadership and compliance.
Yeah, leadership, and then
Enabling.
judge for the compliance or whatever. But yeah, you have to lead forward.
That's an interesting point. I just want to add something on that because that's super important. So you're talking about like what we used to call the yellow lights, or you said the neutral girls, right, Devin?
Yeah.
I have two examples of this. One is Sweden. I don't know if you guys have ever gamed in Stockholm, Sweden, but the girls are legendary for being very beautiful, but they're very stoic and they don't have much personality and sense of humor. And I remember I went there teaching a summer program, and a lot of guys really struggled because of what you just described, Devin, where they're not getting enough like IOI, so they're afraid to lead. But the few guys on the program who, like, we told them just lead and just assume they're attracted, they like knocked it out of the park because they just went for it and they weren't looking for a sign. So it's really interesting to see that there. And then actually a student of mine posted in my Facebook group a couple years ago something I'll never forget. One guy said, I'm on dates and I don't know if the girl's into me or not. Same thing, like a neutral energy. And this guy commented, he said, when I get that, I just say, hey, you want to go back to my place? He said, a lot of times it works because they're just bored and they'll just go, or they end the date and it's over. He said, you win either way. So I'm really glad you brought that up. So even in a neutral situation, rather than looking for signs or maybe I need to build more attraction or like overthinking it, try to escalate, like Ice is saying, and then that will give you your response on where you're at.
And yeah,
it's funny because first when I was super new to this, I would just like I've been in this conversation with this woman for a while. Let me just pull out this card and say, you want to come back with me? And then, surprisingly, she said yes. In my mind, I'm like, that's actually kind of surprising. And then you get it after like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. When you do that, it's like, it's much easier. You don't have to fucking wait around so long.
Yes, it's funny to go off of that. I remember I would have girls over at my place and I wouldn't escalate. We'd be watching a movie. We'd be sitting there and I'd be so nervous. I wouldn't understand one word of what was going on in the movie because I'd be thinking, when do I make my move? Should I do it when the actress and the actor make out and there's fireworks and then go for it? Like, I'd be in my head the whole time. And I just remember at one point, I was so sick of feeling like a pussy when the girl would get in her car and be like, okay, well, it was great hanging out with you. And I wouldn't make a move. So I made a move on this girl like 45 minutes into the movie. Again, I was overthinking. She wasn't giving me anything. She was, because sometimes you'll have a girl over and the movie's on, but she's like looking at you. Her legs are touching yours. You can tell. But this girl, she was watching the movie. She wasn't really into it. I was just like, fuck this. And I just started kissing her and she like jumped on me. So my point is like, yeah, the neutral girls, you have to lead forward. You don't know until you at least try.
I had the exact same thing, like waiting 2 hours, and I was like, now's not the time because there are like gays kissing or someone just got killed or the dog got shot or something like that. Like, it's not a great time in the plot point right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there are a lot of girls that just don't show indicators of interest.
Learned was that sense of anxiety.
You gotta make the move.
That sense of anxiety is your trigger to make the move. Like to this day, hey, every now and then you still see a girl. I don't know about you guys, but I still see a girl every now and then. I'm like, whew, shit, she's hot. Actually with my girlfriend right now, that was the exact feeling. I was like, holy shit. But yeah, it's just like the indicator. Okay, now's the time. When you're sitting there on the couch, and I've had the same fucking experience. I think we all have on this call at some point when we were not great. You're sitting there with the girl and you're like, fuck, is it time yet? Yeah, that's just the indicator to fucking go for it. Like in your mind, reframe that as nervousness about failing to anticipation to excitement to, okay, cool. Anytime that you feel nervous about anything, it's like 99% of the time you should just fucking try it. That is your key indicator. This is exactly what you should be doing right now.
What I was about to say is like, I generally don't look for indicators of interest because I just don't get it, right? I go for compliance because that's a more truer test. But I was also going to say that some girls like that come from a conservative culture or religion, like say Asian girls, I've dated that will not show any IOIs whatsoever, will not hold my hand, will not kiss me in public, but take her into my car and she'll start sucking my dick, right? So training oneself to never look for IOIs and going for the compliance and, to White's point, to showing leadership. I think that's a truer sign, because that also essentially leads into like getting her consent, right?
Exactly. Alrighty, let's jump on to the next one. Beautiful conversation there. Loving it so far. What would you say are the most effective date activities for getting laid in your experience and from the guys you've seen?
Drinks. Easy.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
Sex is a good activity for getting laid.
Club, take it to a brothel on the first
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually putting out a video on this. Like, how do I describe this? If you're dating a woman, right, and you've been in a relationship for 6 months, then really cool date activities are ones that are going to really spike her emotions, because as her emotions spike, she's going to like relate that to you, and it's going to be fun and exciting. So like, typical example, like if you take on a roller coaster, and she gets off that, she's going to be fucking pumped. And if she's doing it with you, it's going to be super exciting. The problem is, I'm not teaching guys on their first date to like go to an amusement park and take a girl on a roller coaster, because like their framing's just really bad. You come across as like the activity guy. She's going to think it's like relationshipy. And if she thinks there's a chance of a relationship, she's not going to act like a slut, right? She's not going to sleep with you on the first night. So yeah, I think the best balance of this is just going for a drink at a bar. You're not like buying her dinner. You're not doing any of this shit. You can find easily a place close to yours. That would be my suggestion. Once you get good at this, I was kind of half joking about the sex thing, but you can just invite girls straight to your place, right? Like if you have some form of like a sexualized conversation, you have some value, you can just tell the girl like, hey, yeah, come around to my place, we'll have a drink there. And you can even get up to the point where sometimes I just close on, I'm going to tie you up, or close on, I'm going to give you the best massage of your life. And the girls will come over wearing lingerie, right? Like it's completely on. So obviously, we're just talking about compliance. It depends on how much compliance you have. But I think a nice middle ground is going to be just, yeah, drinks at a bar near your place.
I will say one of the things that was a massive, just completely destroyed some limiting beliefs that I had was right around my senior year of college. One of my buddies, jiu-jitsu guy, handsome looking dude, really shy, but he had a few too many drinks. Well, maybe the perfect amount of drinks, because it gave him that liquid courage. Don't rely on that, but it gave him the liquid courage. And he just walked straight up to this girl, and his opener was literally, I would love to tie you to my bed frame. And it fucking worked, and they left the bar. So what Marcus is saying can absolutely work. You'll have a higher percentage play with most women inviting them to drinks, but yeah, obviously if you can get her straight to your place, it's better.
You guys know what's his name? I can't. Brian from whatever, the podcast host.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys knew this,
Brian
but
Atlas.
Brian Atlas. Yeah, he used to do prank videos before, and he has this one video where he's going around and he's asking girls, "Do you want to have sex with me?" And 99 girls said no, but there was one that said yes. Right? So yeah, even if you are not particularly, or if you don't particularly have good game, whatever, you're not that social charismatic, a little bit of this, it is a numbers game, right? So yeah, you ask that to enough girls, one's gonna say yes.
Well,
yeah, like I think it's a numbers game that you can like take advantage of, right? Like, so that's a 1% play. I think you could do the same thing where like you use one of the openers that you suggested earlier, like lead it into some more sexual thing, like get the leadership, get the compliance, and then do it. And then you can probably, if you're a newbie, make that a 2% thing, and then a 5% thing, and then a 20% thing. So like, I agree. Like at some point, like you just need to go out there and take action. Like the numbers are going to help, but you can also like increase your percentage of success with those numbers. Yeah.
Completely agree. I think the whole way to view games through a probability frame. Okay, great. This, like, again, we talk about the drinks versus straight to the house. If you're really good, your probability is higher than an average guy of getting that to happen. But the reason that we would probably, most of us, suggest the drink date for most guys most of the time is, you know, you might have like a 60-65% hit rate on that. With the roller coaster, you might actually have a higher hit rate on that. It might be 75-80%. However, it puts you in a weak frame to now escalate. And to Marcus's point, again, it kind of makes you the activity guy. So
I did a variety of things. Like I don't do the same date over and over again and shit like that. But I realized over time, it took me a while to look back at this, but I realized they did so many cooking dates and so many, like the vast majority of them worked out on the first date. Sometimes I would do them as after a first date or something like that, but we would have already had sex by then. But for a lot of the times when I did that as a first date, it really worked out, whether it was just baking cookies out of a fucking like pre-made sachet or some shit like that, or just like making Mexican food, or she would cook some Italian food because she's Italian or some shit like that. It's just so fascinating how cooking in particular has been a bit of a standout one for me, because inherently, of course, you need a kitchen for that. And where's the kitchen going to be? Probably in the same building where there's also a bedroom, and there's probably your kitchen, probably your bedroom, and there's a particular savvy in it, because if you're doing like getting ingredients in advance, in some cases, unless you already got deliveries and shit like that, you can go to the grocery store together, pick the ingredients, and then go back to your place. It just inherently requires that you basically go to your place in the first place.
Yeah, no, that's genius. The amount of students that I have that have suddenly had an interest in cooking. So, yeah, because like any reason to get into your place, right? And especially like with Eastern European girls or Asian girls, anyone that like comes from a conservative culture, the whole idea of come to my place and I'm going to cook for you, or we'll cook together, is a really nice excuse. It's a little bit lower compliance play together there. I think like any reason, like there was a gym girl I got over once where I'm like, I'm going to make you the greatest protein shake of your life. And like, she knows what's going on, right? Like it's okay, I'm going to his place, but you can be creative. I think cooking's a really nice one for sure. It's,
oh my God. I almost forgot. We have to bring back Gingerbread Global, dude. Gingerbread houses every single year, dude. The number, I used to compete with myself every year for how many girls I could get to come over and make gingerbread houses. Cause it's literally so low compliance.
So fucking good.
Oh, cute
I actually
holiday
did that
activity,
recently.
15, 20 bucks.
Forgot.
Oh my God. I can't believe I didn't bring that up already.
I fucking forgot, actually. I didn't tell you. I went to a gingerbread making class in Peruvian Japanese Association. It's just this massive fucking Japanese complex in Peru, because there are lots of Japanese people here. And they do courses, and one of them recently was this gingerbread house making class. And everyone, apart from me and one guy, everyone was a woman. The ratio was insane. It's so fucking funny. But that's a funny thing you mentioned. It's so fucking true. As for, I forgot to mention this to our Marcus and Devin, such an Australian and Canadian thing to do, barbecues. Like I just remembered for the first time in a while, the way I met my wife, although we did quite a few things on our first date. What we did when we ended up at my place, as far as I remember, is we had a barbecue. So there was also a time when I did lots of barbecues as well. Cooking, baking, barbecues, gingerbread houses, cookies, whatever it is. It's so fucking good. And there was a study on this from HelloFresh or something. It's found that people tend to do cooking dates on the 5th date. And at that point, it's kind of like a sign that the relationship is advancing. But there have been so many times when I did it as a first date, and it just almost never fucking goes wrong. It's so good. If she's Japanese, she can do some Japanese cooking for me. Like I said, Italians, maybe she can teach me some fucking new pasta or something I never had before. It's fucking limitless. It's so good.
Well, it's like that quote that beginners study tactics while the experts study logistics. And that's all dates are. It's like logistics, how you set up the emotional experience, the location. You know, I'm here in Hollywood and I set up like my little mini date triangle with the Hotel Roosevelt because it's a great upsell. It's like, oh, the Ghost of Marilyn Monroe. We'll have some drinks, maybe some tapas, maybe run to the Ghost of Marilyn Monroe. Oh, and there's a poolside, very romantic, make out. Oh, would you like to meet the cutest dog in the world? Well, I'm right over there. And I just walk, right? So it's all logistics.
I'm not the only one. This guy's in the comments saying, haven't seen JT in a while. He looks way better than I last remember. He's growing backwards. He's getting younger and younger.
Vampire.
Yeah, Asian genes, but also gotta do the skincare maxing, guys.
Alrighty, any final comments on this topic? Optimal dates. You know,
No, it's just kind of amusing hearing us talk about it. If only, like, it's funny how it just happened, but it didn't really. Does that make sense? Like, there's so many things that have to be planned out beforehand, but you don't want to make it seem like you're going through the checklist, you know, when you're on that date. There's a lot that goes into it.
I break dates down into three categories, like quick touch, something you want to do anyway, and home delivery. Right? So you could have the girl come over, sure, if the compliance is there, and I don't know, maybe if you met her in person and already had something built up. Usually I go with the quick touch as the default, which is like Marcus was saying, like just get drinks somewhere near your spot. It's just something to facilitate the conversation. Keep it simple. You don't want to go over the top. And then the second one, which is an interesting category that my buddy did, which I really like, was like something you like or going to do anyway. So it could be like the gingerbread houses, or I've done around Halloween, like, hey, come over and let's carve pumpkins or something like that. Or I used to have a motorcycle, so that was a killer date. Obviously, like, hey, I'm going to go for a sunset ride. You want to come with me? Or like that always worked really well. Or if you want to go for a walk in a certain area or something that you like to do, you could just invite her along to that. But you know, anything, I think the thing to avoid is, like, I see some guys that I meet now who they're new friends. So I'm not giving them advice or anything like that, but they're like, oh, I'm going to take this girl to this fancy dinner. I'm going to take her to this sports game or this and that. I'm like, you don't know this girl. You don't know anything about her. She hasn't built value in your eyes. Like, do that other stuff down the line once someone's proved that there's someone valuable that you want to keep in your life. But in the beginning, just keep it more simple is just my advice for dates.
I love what you said there about doing what you would do anyways.
Yeah.
I'll talk to guys and they'll say all this wild shit like, oh yeah, I'm going to take a girl like tandem bike riding, hot air balloon riding. I'm going to take her to Nobu. I'm going to do this and that. I've talked to guys, yeah, should I run out a Lamborghini and dress in like this really fancy outfit? And yeah, like the first thing I'll ask them when they say that, oh yeah, I'm going to take her to Nobu is, okay, well, are you like a foodie? Do you like going out to fancy restaurants by yourself? And they'll be like, no, not really. And I'll be like, so why are you doing that then? Well, I don't know. I thought she'd like it.
Dude, I had a client who spent $26,000 on a first date once because he dropped 20 grand on outfit, shoes, purse, and then 6 grand on dinner. And granted, the guy had it like that, so it was an inconsequential amount of money to him. But later on, and part of the reason he came to us was he was like, well, you know, I feel like she maybe just liked me for the money. I was like, really? You don't say.
Oh, fucking shit.
So yeah, I mean, do something that's normal too, right? Like when you set these grand expectations, that's now the tone for the relationship. And to Devin's point, if that's not who you are, if that's not what you want to do on your Tuesday night, then don't set that expectation in the first place. It's okay, especially with like the dating app girls. I think are the ones who always kind of have these weird expectations of, oh, we need to do something special because they've seen on TikTok that, oh, I need this out of a man. But even most of those girls, if you just, hey, no, let's do drinks. You can take her to drinks at a nice place. There's nothing wrong with that. Hopefully you live somewhere logistically where there's a nice spot nearby. It's okay to spend 40, 50 bucks on drinks, but it's about the time investment. It's about the precedent for the rest of the relationship. It's not just about the money spent. It's how does she perceive the kind of guy that you are? And if you're the guy who's trying to impress her, inherently you're chasing her, inherently you're lower value, and just shoot yourself in the foot.
Absolutely. Alrighty, let's move on to the next one. We got a question here that says, I have never seen this before, so I never looked into this. Do you agree with the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that sex is a need? Do you guys know about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what they taught in like middle school. You know, you have to have food, water. So it's definitely an essential part of who we are as human beings. I think, though, it's also maybe better to reframe sex instead of just as the biological act, but sex as in the human connection with another person, right? Love, whatever you want to define it as, that is a human need. to be with someone, whether that's just for physical gratification or romantic intimacy. Yeah, it absolutely is a need that we as human beings are drawn to other people to find satisfaction, fulfillment in our life.
Anyone else know about this?
Yeah, I mean, this is old school psychology. Yeah, I agree with JT. I don't know why the question really matters, or I'd really want to know why the person is asking this question. Like, do they think that sex isn't important, or really is important, or what they're actually trying to get out of this? But yeah, I agree. Like, sex is going to be all the way almost up to like self-actualization on this chart, right? Like, it will be one of your physiological needs. It provides safety for women. It builds love and belonging. It increases your esteem with having amazing sex and hot girls around you and people to love you. And there's an element of like self-development that comes with the whole pursuit of sex. So yeah, I mean, I think very intellectual. I don't know what this guy wants to ask.
I think
or what
the
he wants to know.
question is derived from the male loneliness epidemic, right? Like, can we as men survive without that human connection, whether it's romantic or physical? Because that's, whatever statistic is popping out, like so many of the Gen Z guys, or it's even Gen Z women. I remember approaching a Gen Z girl and it's like this complete blank stare. I was like, okay, that's just kind of weird. But yeah, I think that's kind of where it derived from. Can we as human beings exist without sex? Like, technically you can, but is that a really good quality of life?
Well, we would exist, but we wouldn't survive, right? In about 100 years.
What's the point of this fucking channel? Like this, when you were to talk about the opposite.
I'm kind of in Marcus's camp. I don't see the relevance of this. It's like, okay, if you want to go be a Buddhist monk and not have it, do that. But like, most of us as men are interested in having sex. Most women are interested in having sex. If you got some sort of moral, personal reason, then whatever. Like, do you need it physically to survive? No, but it's going to be a shitty life. So,
all right.
Cool.
Let's jump on to the next one. Some say you should assume attraction. Others say you should calibrate escalation based on IOIs. What is right? Kind of similar to what you said before.
I mean, err on the side of attraction. Again, ask for the sale. I think we kind of hit this a lot. Like, everybody on the panel seemed to say, like, yeah, we need to escalate the interaction. It's just that the IOIs are a nice little hint. They're like a red arrow that says, oh, it's time to escalate. It's like, I don't know if you've ever played those games. So there's like a sliding needle that moves back and forth, and there's like the one little green window. The IOI is like, ooh, this is the green window. This is the perfect time to do it. But if you hit it in the orange window on either side, you're fucking fine. If you wait too long, you miss. If you do it too early, you miss. But like, they're just kind of a good indicator that this is a decent time, but it's not really anything else. It's not necessary for you to try to escalate.
And when
I would say we discussed this before, really, so we could kind of.
I mean, can I add something to this, guys? I think because sometimes I hear assume attraction, and I think people just lie to themselves or attempt to lie to themselves, and it doesn't really work. Like, I think a healthier approach is to assume future attraction. I think some guys go into set and they try to convince themselves, like, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, every girl in this fucking club likes me. And then the other side of their brain is like, no, you're not, you're a fucking loser. And I think like that gets a little bit more intense and they feel worse about themselves. But also then their actions, if they're acting like they're the best person in the club, they don't realize that they do need to build compliance. And so they walk into that set and they're like, well, tell me, why should I talk to you? And the girl's like, well, you came over here, I don't want to talk to you. And they're like, fucking bitch. And then they walk off. And it just doesn't work, right? It doesn't work. If you have that level of, even if it's fake narcissism, it's not attractive. What's attractive is a grounded level of confidence. So walking to the set and knowing, sure, the girl might not be like playing with her hair and like, you know, getting on her knees for me just yet, but I know that if I do the right things here, if I, you know, lead and do the things we were talking about before, have a level of like sexual authority, if I come off as charismatic and confident, then I know I can start to build attraction. So when you go into that set and the girl's like, girls' night, I'm not thinking she loves me anyway. I'm thinking, just wait. Okay, just wait. I'm going to be able to build this up. So with confidence, I turn to a friend and I'm like, oh, you seem really friendly. And then I'm able to get myself into this set. So I think it's like a small distinction there, but the one that's like really important is don't just try to lie to yourself and say I'm the most attractive guy in the room if you're not. But you should have the confidence to know that you're able to build attraction and you have the tools to do so.
That's a really good
when I think about assume attraction, I think, you know, it's just leading, because if you're waiting for her to show signs that she's attracted, you're just waiting for her to show IOI. So by leading, you're in a way assuming attraction, but not in the super conscious level, because it's more concerned with, does she actually follow me? But you're assuming that she might actually take you up on this in the first place.
Yeah, I agree, but also there was a lot in what Marcus said there. And the biggest thing is having that self-belief. Like, if you don't truly believe it, then you're going to try to cover that up, and it's going to come off as incongruent, and you're going to end up coming off as the cocky douchebag guy, the guy that goes up to the girl and says, give me 3 reasons why you should give me your number. And then, yeah, it's like, okay, you're just coming off as you're holding something back. Like you don't actually believe it yourself. But if you have that self-belief that, yeah, I know I'm the fucking man, but at the same time, you also are just open to getting to know the person, want to see who that person is, and you don't have that cockiness to you, then yeah.
I think if you assume, again, this is it's a really good point that Marcus brought up. I think if you just assume, not that all girls will be attracted to me the second they see me, but you assume that given enough time, it's like, I forget what the quote is, you give me a lever long enough and I'll move the world. It's like, you give me enough time with any girl in the world and she'll be attracted. That should be kind of your mental model, is they all will eventually. So anything I can do that buys me a little more time here in a congruent way, that's good. You're just going to increase that attraction. That should be the mental model, more so than just like, oh, I'm the hottest shit in the world.
Interesting way to think about that is, like, when you see so many movies over time, I can't think of particular examples, but I used to kind of like roll my eyes when like the main character would just end up having sex with a woman. But if you think about it, if they're spending enough time together because of the movie plot line, of course they're spending time together. They're in a situation or whatever. I have no examples in mind right now, but it's in that way, it's kind of like more likely because you simply rubbed off on each other over time.
What's interesting is I've talked to 2 guys recently in the sauna, and both of them have been married. One guy was married for 15 years, another guy was married for 20 years, and it was a similar story where they would go into some place, a restaurant and a coffee shop, right? It was the barista and then the girl, like the hostess of the restaurant. And so the guy would keep coming in. It was his regular spot. He'd keep hitting on the girl. She'd keep turning him down, but persistence. And then finally she agreed to go on a date with him, and the rest was history. Now, I don't recommend this, but there's something to be said there with, okay, you spend enough time with somebody, then, okay, their initial response might be, I'm not into it. But at the same time, then that persistence can, I don't want to say win over, but can help allow that person make a better impression.
Well, that's kind of like how a lot of normies date, is that time exposure effect, whether that's your social circle, community, hobbies, church. You just expose to someone long enough, eventually they quote grow on you, right? I think part of what we do is we try to condense that down into that 4 to 10 hour window, as opposed to years of trying to get to know somebody.
So now,
I cannot remember the study, but there was one that basically women rate men as more attractive in a familiar environment as opposed to an unfamiliar environment. So there's definitely some evolutionary backing to that. Just the one pitfall is obviously there's such thing as opportunity cost. And so you don't want to be the guy who's just pining after the one girl for years, which I don't know about you guys, but fucking learn that one the hard way.
The only thing I'd add to that, you guys brought up such great points on all this, and I agree with all you're saying. The only thing I'd add is, don't assume that you don't have attraction, right? Because I'm thinking of who's asking this question. So a big mistake guys will make is they think that, oh, I can't make that move yet, so I need to be funnier, or I need to demonstrate more value. I need to build more attraction before I actually make a move. So I would just say, like, don't assume that you do, like Ice was saying, you have to make a move and go for it to kind of see where you're at. And then you have to calibrate, right? If she doesn't comply, you take a step back. Maybe you do a takeaway, maybe you build some attraction, you try again, right? So yes, there's some calibration going on with that. But if you assume you don't have attraction, you could spend too long and not make a move forward, and you'll actually lose the interaction from not actually making a move. So you have to be careful of that as well.
I don't want to go too deep on this, but I'm slightly going to take this off the rails just follow me here, as I always fucking do.
He's asking for compliance, guys.
When JT was kind of saying exposure, and we're talking about time, exposure to each other, things like that. I started calling it somewhat half serious way. You're in the position to fuck because you're hanging out with each other. Like, even if you're friends, if you think about this from an indirect game or social circle game mindset, even if you're just friends is just a label. Like, I'm not talking Facebook friends or shit like that. But by hanging out with a woman for however long, however many times, even if you're known her for a few weeks or whatever, you hang out for a few hours here and there so far, by hanging out, you're in the position to fuck. So the important aspect is that you're actually meeting, because then effectively you're in a position to fuck. This is what I call the friend frame. It's not to be confused with friend zone, because friend zone is like you placed an intention on her, you try to make a move, she rejected you. You put yourself in the position of rejection by going that route, and that's why you get friend zone. But if you come from the mindset of let me hang out with lots of women, you are merely putting yourself in the position of fuck in a way, because the label doesn't care about physics. The physics is your dick is here, her pussy is here. That can happen regardless of what the labels are.
That's my favorite red pill fallacy, because they simultaneously hold these two beliefs. One is that you should not have female friends because that makes you a pussy and a bitch and you're never going to hook up with them. And the other is that your girl should not have male friends because she's going to fuck her male friends. Those two things can't be true.
Sure.
Great observation. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's funny.
God damn. Alrighty, let's move on to another one. Here's another practical one. I wanted to make this episode super honed in on practical stuff and game and maxing. How do you prevent women from flaking on?
Well, the first obvious one is make that impression in person. So it depends. Like, if you met her on a dating app in person. Another thing that a lot of guys should do is send like follow-up text, or like what's it called? The night before, I'll just say like, looking forward to seeing you at whatever. So some guys will lock it in a week in advance, and they'll be like, okay, well, I'll see you at this place for this time. And then they won't follow up throughout the rest of the week and then just assume it's signed, sealed, and delivered. But yeah, send that follow-up text the night before. That's one thing, and make a better impression in person. That's another.
The best way I heard this explained is whether or not a girl will flake is dependent on two factors. It's how attracted she is to you and how attracted she is to the date or the offer. And so each of those go on a 10-point scale. Cumulatively, added together, if it's at least 10 or above, she's showing up on that date. So if she's 10 out of 10 interested in you and you invite her to go do the fucking worst thing in the world, you want to go pick up trash on the side of the highway, well, she's going to show up because she's 10 out of 10 into you. Conversely, if she's 1 out of 10, you know, you're some annoying ass trust fund kid, overweight, haven't done fuck all for yourself, you just exist, but you're like, hey, buddies and I are hopping on a private jet, we got F1 in Monaco, paid for, do you want to come? She's going to show up. 10 out of 10 offer. So it's all about striking that balance. Now, as men, what we generally are more interested in is having her be more interested in us than the activity, but both matter. So do the most that you can to maximize that attraction, that interest on the front end, all of the stuff that we talk about maximizing attraction, status, and everything, and try to have a good offer. So if you're going to take her for drinks, generally take her to the nice drink spot as opposed to the dive bar. Or, hey, if it's a social environment, if it's a social invite, if you can tell, hey, you know what, she's like a 3 out of 10 interest on me, well, maybe this is not time to escalate and take her to a one-on-one date. But if you have something cool social coming up, like I did puppy yoga, massive hack. Puppy yoga is like a 9 out of 10 invite. She's going to fucking show up to that. And then while she's there, you've got pre-selection, social proof, leadership, all of these attraction triggers. And that 3 can go to a 7 out of 10 interest real quick. So it's just about figuring out where's her interest level and what do I need to invite her to.
I think that's a good metric for guys running like social circle game. It's a good way to determine if you're inviting a girl out to like a date with you or out to like as you said, like puppy yoga. And I assume you're inviting more than one girl, right? Like there's probably a few girls going to that. So yeah, right. So I think that's a good metric. If you're someone that's using just Tinder or you're cold approaching, I would probably steer away from that unless you're doing, because as you mentioned, right, like you want a girl there for you. The biggest thing I see guys make a mistake with is they try to close a goal too early without enough value. Because we've spoken about compliance a lot. You can reach a level of compliance where a girl will give you a number but never reply. You can reach a level of compliance that a girl will reply to you but never say yes to a date. And you can reach a level of compliance where a girl will say yes to a date but never fucking show up. And so I think what guys do is they think like, okay, I just want to get a yes to the date. That's all I fucking care about. So they don't build enough value. They're a little bit too needy. The girl says yes to the date, but I can guarantee you, they like, I will tell the guys, this girl's flaking, right? Like she's barely replied to any of your messages. She gave you like a maybe or a yes or something. Like this girl's fucking flaking. Like your best thing to do now is actually flake on her. Just tell her you're not coming, right? You can't make it. Someone else came up. So build value is going to be the first thing. And then try to not actually ask for the date. Try to bait it as much as you can. Like this is a little bit more advanced, but like if you can get the girl to the point where she's asking you for the meet, that's going to be better. A step back from that is at least find out her availability first. Right. So, hey, I'm curious what's your schedule like? She gives you a schedule. And then you can say, actually, I might be able to make Friday work. I'll let you know. Right. So even if you're not baiting and she's asking you, you're at least creating a frame that there's some scarcity there, that you're not like just jumping, yes, any day will work for me. I'm free every day of the week, blah, blah. So yeah, Friday might work. Then hit her up 2 days before. Some guys are planning fucking dates 2 weeks out. It's like, bro, what the fuck? Like, that's not even good for business. Like I wouldn't even say sales calls that far out. Like why are you doing dates that far out? So like I try to keep it like 2 days, right? So you get their schedule, you let them know like it might work. And then 2 days out, you can be like, actually, I got some good news. She's like, what's up? And I'm like, I'm free on Friday. We can go do, I usually just do drinks, right? Or she can come to my place. And then someone else mentioned, I forget who it was, but yeah, I'd send a follow-up text, but that follow-up text shouldn't be, are we still on? Right? That just indicates that you're used to girls flaking on you, right? I'd rather send a text like, hey, I'm really sorry, just to let you know, I'll be 10 minutes late. Or I'll send a message, if she's coming around to my place, I'll send a message and be like, hey, I just bought a bottle of wine for us, right? I'll see you at 7 p.m. Or I just bought a new bottle of coconut oil. What the fuck you're doing, right? And that way you're solidifying the date, because some guys just wait and the girl's like, well, I think he's flaking on me, and they just don't show up or some shit. So like you do want to solidify it, but do it in a way that doesn't sound needy. So yeah, it's a big thing for guys. Have the value, don't do it too early, get her to chase a little bit, and then do the follow-up text.
Dude, I need to push back an hour follow-up text. That one's huge. So like what you were saying, Marcus, like especially like the night before, you can be like, hey, I know we said 6. I'm so sorry. I'm going to be working late. Can we do 7? It's so powerful because they never say no. They've got their night blocked off for you. If anything, meeting her later in the evening is better anyways. It's amazing.
And locking it in is too.
I want to super quickly address a point Marcus made about, booking dates 2 weeks ahead. Sometimes there are cases where that's kind of a thing, like she's traveling, you're traveling, whatever, and you're just like, you matched on Tinder or something. As I like to say, anything more than 2 or 3 days away is not a date, it's a draft date. So you should 2 or 3 days before that draft date, you should reconfirm. That's all I want to say.
Yeah. I think that a good anti-flake, and this is a little bit more advanced, and this is because I live in Los Angeles, which I would argue is literally the flakiest city in the entire world I've ever been to. It's like a 66% flake rate. And that's because you've got your normal variables, right? Good-looking guys, rich guys. Well, you also have famous guys out here. You have the geography where people will not date people in different areas of Los Angeles because of the drive. It feels like it's a long distance relationship at that point. And, all that creates this incredibly flaky culture. Instagram game, right? Instead of doing the phone number, and it does require that you have a really curated Instagram where she sees like however your game was, right, in person. Then she sees your curated Instagram. It's like, oh, shit, like this guy has really high value. And then you know, I like to post her story like after like I meet her and see if she's like stalking my story and maintain the interest and kind of like building that value to showing that, you know, what Marcus was saying, like you have value, that she needs to chase you, you know, and to reconfirm with you. Otherwise, you're going to free up that spot for someone else on your roster. That is a little bit more advanced, and that does require you to have an actually good Instagram and not just like your dog and fish pictures and food pictures.
That's a great point. The Instagram. I've seen a lot of guys lose dates because of their Instagram, because their Instagram is either displaying low value or they're following people, and girls will check this. They'll Google your name. They'll check out your Instagram. They'll probably know more about you than you think on the date. They'll sit around with 5 of their detective friends and find all this stuff out. But yeah, like the Instagram can either be your greatest, it can either be your best friend or your worst enemy.
Yeah, like I said,
had a girl send me a clip of one of these.
It can't be like a random Instagram.
How many followers you got, JT?
Like 11,000 on my personal. I have mine separate from like business and personal. My personal one is like what I actually use with girls. So I don't use it for like pickup or coaching or anything like that. But it is like a one, you know, you want to have like at least 1 to 100 ratio, right? Where you have 1 to 10, where you have like more followers than following.
Yeah, I got like 21,000 followers at the moment. It's going up every week by the hundreds, and I follow like 60 people.
Yeah, I mean that's what you want, and especially if you are handing it out to girls. And to what Devin was saying, like one of my guys uses Instagram really good, and he's been called out by girls like why are all these girls following you? It's like, I did promoting, of course girls would follow me, and then he's lost some dates because the girls get jealous. But at the same time, women would rather pursue a man that is being pursued by other women than a man that has no girls after him at all.
Yeah,
it's funny you mentioned that. Let me just quickly say it. I got a message like a few days ago from a random woman, just like, by the way, if you look at my Instagram profile, you can see my daughter, you can see my wife. I'm getting messages from random women sometimes who are just like inviting me to a nearby city. I'm just like, oh, interesting. But they know I'm married and they know I have a daughter. It's just a very funny thing. Whereas when I was single, when I didn't use Instagram, I had a profile, but I never used it or put anything on there. Of course, nothing was happening.
Yeah, classic. They want what they have.
As far as the flaking, that's a common question that comes up a lot. And a lot of guys struggle with that one. Whenever someone asks me about the flaking, I tell them to focus on investment. That's the word that I go for. And getting more investment in your initial interaction. I'm teaching guys how to meet them in person. If it's online dating and social circle, it's a little bit different. But if you're meeting the woman in person, a tendency guys have is to like go in there, approach her, talk a lot, get a phone number and leave, right? They think like the phone number is the accomplishment, but they're not solidifying the actual interaction. So if you focus on investment, what kind of investment can you get? You can get logistical investment, not just walking up to her and talking to her in the same place for 20 minutes, moving her around the bar. Let's say you guys move to another bar or something like that. Moving logistics is huge. Disclosure, I like to talk about how much, when someone has a flaky phone number and a student is like, oh, she didn't write me back, I say, what do you remember about her? And they're like, and it takes them a long time to think of it. If she shares a lot of things, personal things about herself to you and invests in you that way, she'll feel safer with you and she's going to feel closer to you. So she invests with her disclosure. Another one, obviously, is physical. Okay. If you met the girl, she talked to you a bunch, you moved her around, you went back to your place, say things got physical, she's a lot less likely, as we know, a woman's more likely to hit you up after things get physical than not. I'm not saying you have to do that when you first meet him, but you want to focus on spending a little bit. Time is another one as well, right? Spending a little bit more time with them, getting them to open up and share more with you, moving them around a little bit. When a woman starts to follow your lead, that's a big compliance thing when they move with you logistically, and some physical touch, right? If she invests that stuff in you and then she flakes after that, I mean, it's a lot less likely that that's going to happen. So I tell guys, don't just focus on just getting the number and being out of there. Like sometimes even get the number and stay in the interaction and build more of that investment. The more that you build, I mean, it's just help.
I had a mentor who used to say it's not a valid number close unless you have a day, time, and activity solidified so much so that you should both show up if you lost your phones tomorrow. If you don't have those things ironed out, now it's a little extreme. Occasionally you'll hit a girl and it's just like, okay, whatever. It's logistically not going to happen tonight. That's where Instagram's amazing as a nurture feature. I've had girls hit me up a year after we met because they just see you posting. Maybe this particular chick that I'm thinking of lived in LA. I'm over in Scottsdale. Next time she's in town, who's she hitting up? Well, it's pretty easy. But with somebody who you're trying to like a cold approach, either for whether this is for a date or a social circle purpose, just iron out those logistics right there on the spot. Figure out, again, to Marcus's point, if you can get her asking, but figure out, okay, what's our date going to be? What are we doing together? Once you have all of that done, cool. Now there's a reason for the phone number, and she's more likely to show up because this is all ironed out. You've made it very, very clear this is a real thing that's happening. Versus a lot of guys, you can be the number hunter. You can go in. I think if you just get like a little bit calibrated, a little bit confident, you can probably close 60-80% of girls just on a number. But then we all know like that number's not going to text the guy back. She's just, here, fine, take my fucking number, go away. I don't want to talk to you, even if it's a real one. But just making sure that it's a rock solid interaction. You've hit all of this attraction, this compliance as much as you can, and then you're just ironing out all of the details. That is going to help a lot.
Time bridge, right, JT? That's what we called it back in the day.
Old school.
Time bridge, it's called. Yeah. While you get the number. One more thing I just want to add to what I said before is I'll tell guys actually if they're having trouble with flaky numbers to stop asking for numbers completely. And then like that's an exercise I'll do with them so that they work on all the other things that I had mentioned before. And I tell them that a good sign that you're building investment and connection with women is they start asking you for your numbers. So if someone's really struggling with flaky numbers, I tell them to just stop asking for numbers completely and focus on the foundational parts of your game.
I have seen messages from guys before where they say a girl flaked and they'll like, you have to confirm a time and confirm the day. A lot of guys won't confirm the time. They'll be like, oh yeah, Thursday sounds good to me. And then the girl will be like, oh, yeah, I'm off that day. And then they'll leave it. And then on Thursday, they'll text the girl at like 3:00 and they'll be like, oh, so let's meet here at 5. And the girl won't answer. And then it's just like, okay, lock in the date and the time.
Solidify it.
Exactly.
It's
like,
not fucking solid. Exactly. Alrighty, let's jump on to the next one. Perhaps we could keep this one a little short. I don't know. What is your go-to method to deal with a student who has limiting beliefs and insecurity?
Well, like anything, the first step is to become aware of what they are, what's limiting you, why those stories are there. And then you go out and you just make sure to reduce that action, whatever it is you're trying to do. So it's like, okay, Indian guy says that white girls don't like me. They're not into me. Go up and say hi to a white girl. And then if she likes, hey, then there you go. That automatically proves that limiting belief right there. So become aware of them first.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, when it comes to dealing with race, my clientele has a lot of limiting beliefs for a variety of reasons. But going on what you just said, it is acknowledging it, admitting that it exists, confronting it, seeing other referential experience that is in conflict with it, but also the process of over time continually to deconstruct it, right? Because even a weekend boot camp, if that's what they're doing, it's enough to put cracks in these sort of limiting beliefs. But if you've been living with it, whether it's height, looks, baldness, whatever, like you've been living this 30 years, it's not going to disappear overnight. It's not going to disappear over a weekend. It is a process, the old journey that takes time to deconstruct, and you have to continually reinforce it and replace it with a new, more positive belief system of yours. But, it all goes back to, acknowledging that it exists.
Yes, I mean, my background is sales. run the team for Sigma Society and was one of Sartain's top performing reps for years. I've been in that whole game for a decade. Limiting beliefs rear their heads every single day on those calls and every day on coaching calls as well. The best thing is to be put in a situation where you can see tangibly that belief is not true. The next best thing, and I think probably even better in the long run, is to consistently in person be around other guys who have similar limitations but who have accomplished more. It's kind of that old, hey, you are who you surround yourself with. A lot of my limiting beliefs were not smashed until I just was completely, like, repeatedly exposed to guys who came from worse situations than me, who had way more limiting factors and who accomplished more. So I really think that's where, like, your network and the people that you surround yourself with actually comes into play. And that's where sometimes some of the benefit of coaching is actually just being around the other students and seeing, oh shit, this is a guy who's also working on this and he's accomplished it. It's huge for that.
You made me think of a kind of follow-up question to ask this guy is, what are his friends like? They probably have a lot of those same similar limiting beliefs. Oh, women don't want to be approached. You're bothering them, right? Like, yeah, you are who you surround yourself with.
I only hang out with spam approach day gamers who do 100 approaches a day.
Well, it's community, what everyone's been saying. And this is because he's asked a couple of questions and I'm just kind of like thinking about where this guy's coming from. I think this is where a lot of the Gen Z sort of male loneliness epidemic guys is they are surrounded by other people that they had to go through the COVID generation, right? They are surrounded by other people who do not believe, who do not approach, who do not talk to girls, who think that they are doomed to be forever alone. And they do have to somehow pierce that bubble because, you know, you can read, you can watch all the YouTube videos, but it's only in the act and being around other people that are going through that same struggle and making steps forward that those limiting beliefs are going to start to be fully deconstructed. And so, like, definitely, like, the Gen Z guys, they seem to have it hard, even though I think technically we live in, you know, the generation where it has never been easier to be a guy to pick up girls.
I mean, I'm a Gen Z guy. I think we catch a bad rap. I think this is actually one of the generations of men that's kind of weirdly, even though things are cushy, come up on hard times. You look at the state of our country, you look at who the fuck is running it. We have a ring of satanic pedophiles who run our country. There's a lot of anger, but it's kind of one of those cycles where I think we actually hit the point where hard times create strong men. So I don't actually particularly appreciate the Gen Z slander. This guy actually strikes me as somebody who's trying to learn, is how I read this. There's certainly been limiting factors, but I look at the Looksmaxxing thing and I say, hey, you know what? These are guys who are trying to improve themselves, are doing everything they can. Maybe some of it's misguided, but I think a lot of these guys actually have a way better understanding of frame, a way better understanding of the importance of the woman question than maybe previous generations. This is not the generation of guys to sit here and say, oh, hey, happy wife, happy life, treat her like a queen, put her on a pedestal. This is the generation of guys to say, hey, you know what? Yeah, Myron's annoying sometimes, but hey, he got some of it right. Maybe they don't deserve everything that Grandpappy said because we're not dating grandma. So I don't know, man. I don't think it's necessarily just a Gen Z problem. I think it's just that men are out here looking for help. And that's how I interpret this guy in the comments is he's asked, yes, a lot of questions, but it seems like it's coming from a place of wanting to learn.
You guys bring up in terms of about the people. Oh, go ahead, Marcus. You were going to speak before. I'll speak after. You go ahead, brother.
Easy. Cheers, man. Yeah, in terms of dealing with insecurities and mindset issues, I think there's, from like my coaching perspective, I look at this through 3 different lenses. So the first way, this is what I did when I first started coaching, was the whole like CBT approach, which is just like cognitively going through your thoughts. So like the deconstruction. So is this thought actually true? Like, am I a creep if I go out and speak to women? Like, is this weird? Are people going to judge me? And for a lot of these beliefs, it kind of works, right? Because you can go through and say, look, no one gives a fuck. Like, I will do this with students where you approach and like, I'm so worried what that person's going to think of me. I'm like, let's go find out. I'll walk over. Hey man, my friend's about to approach that girl. What do you think you should do? And he's like, oh, just be yourself. Like, go for it. I'm like, let's watch. He goes in and the guy's like, man, good job. And it's like, see, no one fucking cares. No one gets, so it's like really nice way to do it. And I think a lot of guys are attracted to that. But then there's a problem with a lot of this is very subconscious. Like there's a lot of beliefs you hold from like the systems that you built from earlier on in your life that's really hard to like deconstruct, and it's really hard to cognitively just be like, well, yes, this is wrong, and I've just written it down on a piece of paper and I kind of understand. It's really hard. So I think diving in to where these beliefs come from and more of a subconscious level, this is more like IFS work, dealing with that. And then at the end of the day, taking more of like an ACT approach, which is do it anyway. So there are some things that, okay, I'm short. Does this affect my attraction? Yeah, it does. We can't break that down. It does affect your attraction. You are less attractive if you're short. You're less attractive if you're balding. You're less attractive in most parts of the world if you're brown, right? So then you ask, well, what's beneficial here? Should I sit here and fucking only think about that and cry about it? Or like, is it more beneficial to kind of just acknowledge that, put it to the side a little bit and go approach anyway, and know that you can have other parts of you that are attractive that can actually develop like attraction with this woman. You can move forward, you can fuck, you can have a relationship. So I think taking these approaches, one is the cognitive approach, one is more of the internal subconscious approach, and one is focusing on your values and just acting anyway. Depending on the type of student I have, we focus on one of these over the others, but approaching all of them is a really nice way to overcome a lot of the insecurities and limiting beliefs that guys have.
Yeah, I think a big part of this is a lot of guys aren't even aware of it. And a good little kind of model to look at is parents, PANM, right? So parents, environment, media, your associations, and parents, association, nation, environment, and media. So you go through and list all that out. Okay, what are some beliefs that my parents instilled into me? What are some beliefs that I've accumulated through the media that necessarily aren't true, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, once you can hack your own mind, then it's game over.
It's an important question, because these limiting beliefs and insecurities is really what stops guys completely. So it's really, really important. You guys shared some really good stuff. And like you're saying, like where all those, you're mentioning, Devin, right? The inputs where we get these beliefs from, right? And I'm such a huge advocate with myself, with my friends, with my students, is Tony Robbins said it really well, like guard your mind, right? Like guard what you let come in. And so that's why, like I was saying before about some of this red pill stuff. Yes, red pill used to be like what Rolo shared and like being aware of sexual market value and stuff. And that's all good to know. But like it divulged into like such negativity and complaining stuff. And like, yes, some of it can be true, but so much content nowadays is just to trigger people and get you angry. And they've made women into an enemy. And yeah, and it's like, if you're going to make women into an enemy, you can't attract what you hate, right? I always say that you can't attract what you hate. So there's so much negative adversarial content out there. Not this, which I'm loving. This podcast is awesome. And Ice does such a great job with this channel. But like, you really got to be careful what stuff you let in, because you know where this shows up? Okay, there's a beautiful girl I want to talk to her. You go to walk over and you're like, she's got a million messages in her DM. She doesn't want to talk to me, right? Or, I want to talk to that girl. She's really pretty and put together. Oh, she's probably looking for some rich guy. You know, like these beliefs stop you in your tracks from taking action. So control your inputs. Another exercise that has been mentioned in a lot of books, it's definitely not my own exercise, is just a limiting beliefs exercise of capturing the beliefs when you see them and notice them. So being self-aware. I have guys, when they're out, just write them down in their journals, and we'll either talk through them and reframe them, or you can just type them out and reframe them yourself. And like JT was mentioning before, like look for evidence of the opposite. There's always somebody who has this circumstance that you says as an excuse and is making it happen, right? Like that's why The Game became such a popular book, because Neil Strauss was some short, nerdy guy, right? Who learned how to get women. It was a paradigm shift for people. So look for people that support the evidence of doing what your limiting belief is. And the last thing that I'll mention too is so much content around dating and male self-improvement is, what do women want? Let's make ourselves into the man that women want, that women want, that women want. I get that. We're trying to get women. Let's be attractive to women. But I sit down with students and I say, what type of man do you respect? What type of man would you meet and say, that guy's awesome. I like that dude. I want to be like that guy. I'd like to be friends with him. He's a badass dude. And I literally have them write down those qualities. And then I say, measure that list against who you are when you look in the mirror. And then I have them take those two things and say, you need to build yourself into that man, not just for women, but build it into a person where you could look in the mirror and say, Yeah, I'm the guy I always wanted to be. The question, I believe the original question was, how can you work on your insecurities? If you want to be secure with how you are, you have to be able to look in the mirror and be like, I am the badass guy that I've always wanted to be. You don't have to be perfect, but you have to have those foundations in place that matter to you, not just women in your outside world. So I think that's a big one too.
Quick PSA, we just had an earthquake here 2 minutes ago, so if there's some connection issues or whatever, maybe I die on a live stream again, or that was the first time.
It'll go viral.
Yeah, at least I lived for something. That was the first time we got an earthquake on a fucking live stream here. That's pretty fun.
Wow.
Stay
there. Get under the desk.
I promise we'll film reaction clips to it in your honor, right?
You intend to go on for a bit?
We're all gonna get famous. But it says 23 miles away was the epicenter. Magnitude 5 earthquake.
A quick logistical question: How long do you want to go for?
Huh?
I was asking like a quick logistical question. How much longer?
It's a 24-hour stream, right? Us? We're gonna do 24-hour stream soon. Is that
48?
Last time we did 24 hours.
Yeah,
Last time
forgot
we
to bring my
did 24,
adult
so.
diaper.
Yeah, I'm going for 3 hours. So we're in the last quarter now, like 40 more minutes.
I've got another coaching thing coming up, so I might have to drop out in like 10 minutes.
Yes. In that case, I was going to ask this question anyway, but here's a good one for us to jump in. Before I fucking get another earthquake and get crushed by the ceiling. Are men going to slowly return to attempt to meet women in person with the swarms of people who are giving up even trying to do online dating? Women are getting thousands of likes on Tinder within hours of setting up their profile, while most guys are struggling to even get 50 matches in a year.
So I think this is a great like arbitrage opportunity, right? Because you see definitely a lot of girls like, why aren't men approaching? And I was out a couple weeks ago and I saw, and I've seen girls approach, but this night I saw like 4 completely different girls approaching guys, right? I'm like, okay, so the girls are being a little bit more proactive now. Is it an overall trend? Probably not, but I definitely see how girls are detecting that guys aren't approaching as much. So as men, it is an opportunity for us, whatever generation, to go out there and to do it. It is just a matter of them having the wherewithal and the courage, the confidence to actually do it. But I think that it's sort of like post-COVID, right? I don't know how your experience was post-COVID, but once I started going out in that time, the girls were just way more receptive, like way more aggressive than I was normally used to, right? It was like almost shooting fish in a barrel at that point. And while we might not be there, I do think women in general are very receptive to the point where sometimes they're kind of surprised. I remember approaching, a younger girl, and like she was so kind of like, sort of shocked, whereas like she didn't know how to respond. And I've had like both positive reception and negative reception. So I know what I'm looking for, but this was like a completely different reception where she just wasn't used to sort of socializing. So definitely, guys, I think this is also an opportunity to get out there, because so few guys are doing as much approaching as, when we were learning pickup like so many years ago.
I actually think dating apps should just be a bonus round anyways. Like, they should never be your primary strategy for meeting women ever. It's like one of those things where, hey, it doesn't hurt you to set up a profile, but if you just commoditize yourself and if you get accustomed to, the girls on the apps tend to have baggage, or they tend to not always be the most attractive. If you're good, you have something going for you, you can get on Raya. But when you look at the most desirable women in the world, they tend to not be on Tinder, Bumble, Hinge in the first place, or if they are, it's very, very fleetingly. They get on, they check their profile maybe once a month, once a week if they're super, super active on it. So it should never, ever, ever be your primary strategy. And I think a lot of women who in the past were using dating apps are also kind of getting fed up with it anyways. But yeah, I mean, people have met each other in person forever, and they will continue to do it. Especially if you're going for that upper echelon of women, you should really just view those as like, all right, hey, when I'm taking a shit, cool, it's time to swipe. But spending 30 minutes, an hour a day on the apps is a very destructive habit.
Yeah, I was
remember in like Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets or something, where Harry would get all the letters, all the mail through the door of all these fucking houses. It's like, imagine a woman's Tinder is that house, and it's just fucking hot dogs coming in. It's just fucking crazy. Anyway, I'll just quickly say, just to jump on that, as I like to say, if you're physically meeting women, it's called primary game. That's how I say it. And if you're meeting women virtually and then you meet them later, it's secondary game. So I have this distinction between physical presence and virtual presence. It's good to have virtual presence, but if you're literally not going outside, then you're not, you're there. You basically don't exist in the physical world. But if you're doing both, you have both virtual presence and physical presence. That's how you can maximize that. Another quick thing I'll say on this, and then I'll shut up and let everyone else speak. I'm kind of seeing this like job applications in recent years for however long. So many job postings, they get hundreds of fucking applicants, sometimes even thousands. And it's all done through these websites, through LinkedIn. And it's just fucking impossible for a lot of guys to get jobs these days, even making 500 applications, never actually getting a job tied down in the end. But what I'm seeing is that some people are just going straight to the office of this random workplace they might be interested in. Old school. I remember there was also one of the Bond movies in the last few years, one of the Daniel Craig ones. There was like this technology thing. So they were like, let's go old school and use the old technology so we can't be traced. It's a similar thing. Maybe it's time to go old school. I wouldn't say give up on this stuff, but you got to consider your options. You can't just make job applications online if it's leading nowhere. Expand yourself. Go visit the office in person. You could probably meet the boss of the place within 2 minutes, and nobody else really is going to be doing that. So the edge you have is do it fucking old school and do everything, but definitely try to get where nobody else is getting. Most people are afraid and lack the intelligence to make job applications in person these days. That's what my parents and my grandparents had to do back in their day. Be socially savvy enough to just fucking turn up.
And to play off of, or to go off of what both of you said, the beginning of this question, are men going to slowly, who cares what other guys are doing? Why don't you go out and do that too, right? What Jordan said about, swipe while you're taking a shit, it's great, but it's like you're not going to get jacked by just sitting there chugging protein shakes. You have to go to the gym as well too. But have the protein shakes every now and then. It's convenient. And there was also another part of this that I was going to say, but I completely forgot with that. But it's a good point. It'll probably come back to me. But you need to do both of these things. And yes, by going in person, you are going to separate yourself from 99% of the guys that don't even have the balls to do that. So even if you got rejected, the girl will still respect it in some way, shape, or form. But you stick out from all the other guys just by going up and saying hi. It's really simple. The other part too is the beginning of this question, where it's like, are men going to finally stop? Again, doesn't matter what everyone else is doing. I get comments all the time. Try this in Latvia. Try this in Russia or whatever. You know what? I will. Okay. Just because everybody else is
try this in Pyongyang.
Fine. Okay. Challenge accepted. But just because people are like that in your small town, just because nobody's going up and saying hi to you and being friendly, doesn't mean that you can't be the one to lead the dance and to spread that good positive energy.
If you guys are
I like what Jordan said about like using it as a supplement. Like, I have students that just use Tinder and they fuck like a lot of hot girls and a lot of girls on there. I think that's awesome. But I think like for most guys, you should try to like mix these into each other. Like, cold approach is a really nice way to be able to go out there and just practice like in front of a woman without any expectation or pressure. Tinder's a nice way, as you said, chucking a shit. You can just be on the apps and messaging people. And if you're good looking or you have a good profile, you can really leverage that. And then social circle is once you start getting these leads in, it's really nice to be able to like nurture some of them, as we said, that maybe aren't at that 10 out of 10. They're sitting at the 3 out of 10. or you can leverage pre-selection at that point as well. So I think like bring these all together. Where fucking online dating sits right now, as JT said, during Tinder, holy fuck, online dating was awesome. I mean, during Tinder, during COVID, online dating was awesome. And then afterwards, cold approach was fucking incredible, right? And you had these like these moments where women were just like burnt out from one thing and they jumped to the other. I think at the moment, women are getting a little bit burnt out from online dating. And I think in the next few years, we're going to see a lot more AI come into dating spaces where you're going to have AI photos, you're going to have AI bots. You're basically going to have two AI photos with two bots talking to each other, setting up dates. I think when that starts happening more and more, you're probably going to see more of a burnout, and women are just going to go back to, I just want to meet someone in person, or at least like have some authenticity somehow. I don't know if there's going to be some like dating apps that come out where like you have to like video verify yourself or some shit, or, I'm sure there's going to be something in the market that addresses that. But my prediction is in like this next year to 2 years, there'll be more of a resurgence of the cold approach stuff, and probably a little bit of a recession of people using online dating, or at least having as much success as they have had previously.
I think,
All right, guys. I'm taking off.
JT.
See you, JT. It was good to see you, man.
Everybody's getting great content. Love listening
Good to meet you, brother.
I'm
Good having you here.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Much respect, brother.
Next time you're here, you'll probably look 10 years old.
Asian Benjamin Button. Later, gentlemen.
I think to Marcus's point about the AI, it's actually a really good point. I wasn't even thinking about that when the question was first asked, but like every day I get these ads of guys, oh, hey, use our AI photo service. And so it's like, at that point, how's the girl gonna even know that you're a real fucking dude? How do you know that she's a real girl? I mean, the bots were already a problem on the apps. It's just gonna get worse.
I think the future is more and more people are gonna opt out of dating. I don't know, that term went away. It was a kind of a funny term. I bet you guys remember. Remember there was MGTOW. Remember men going their own way.
Men going their own way. Men jerking off in their basement.
Yeah. I think there's going to be more of that. Unfortunately, there is, because it's just kind of the trend of where we're going. Like I've been looking at people's screen time through the years, and that's gone up and up. Now it's typical to see 8 hours. Like I've seen 8 hours pretty regularly, which is half of your entire waking day, 6 months of your entire year. It's fucking unbelievable when you think about it. But this is crazy. I went out with a girl a couple months ago, and she said, I have a secret. I haven't told anybody. I'm like, okay. And who knows what she's going to say, right? But she actually said she had an AI boyfriend, and like literally FaceTime with this guy. He was like, hey, who are you with? It was really funny. But the point being is that like guys are going to start just having AI girlfriends and doing this stuff and really just checking out completely. Now, if you're watching this, you're not going to be one of those guys. So I think it's going to be even better for you than ever. But in general, like that'd be nice if there's a resurgence. It would be great. But I think it's just kind of trending in a bad way. But like I said, whoever's watching this will take advantage of it. And I loved your analogy, Ice. I said that once before too. It's like, if you're trying to do something online, like you mentioned a great analogy of the job search, right? If you're just another of thousands and thousands of people that just went on Indeed and clicked apply, and sent your generic resume, versus you showed up with a smile on your face, with the suit on, and say, hey, I saw you guys were hiring. I want to introduce myself. I wanted to meet somebody. Like, who's the decision maker, right? And having a one-on-one conversation. You're cutting through all that bullshit. I always say to guys, like, do you want to be in the message requests folder of her Instagram in her pocket? I'm going to be the guy who's talking to her face to face at the club or the street or wherever, right? I'd rather be the one who's in person talking than the one online. But the thing is, it's quote unquote easier to message them online or just fire up an app and put a few pictures. You think it's easier, but everybody's taking the easy way out, and they're trying to do that. So that's why it's harder to differentiate. So you want to stand out, and I hope more people do it if you want to have results. If not, this more for us and whoever we work with. So.
I saw this funny meme, which was like a flashlight to the face, and it was saying, did you know only 17% of Indians have internet access? So you're like, holy shit, it's going to get worse with all those scams and everything. But the sheer messages I get from third welders, like trying to offer me like YouTube, Instagram, sales services, it is fucking ridiculous. I'm just like, oh my God, another day, another fucking guy from Nigeria or something trying to fucking sell me something that everyone else is trying to fucking sell. I'm just like, what the fuck? Imagine what women are getting. It's just completely insane. I did experiments before with female friends of mine, just setting up a Tinder profile for them or another profile. And within 24 hours, 2,000 fucking likes. It's completely insane. So yeah, you can cut past all that bullshit. A little micro point I want to throw into this just to give people more of flavor to this. It's like if you watch the Super Bowl, I can't remember in particular. I think I saw like Coca-Cola advertised and Pepsi or whoever the fuck was advertising. There's a reason McDonald's advertises on the TV, the internet, and they advertise in person. They are virtually present and they are physically present. And the way they have their physical presence, especially, is by having lots of fucking franchises everywhere. So game is very similar to marketing in a sense like that too. That's why I brought up the job applications example. Any other final thoughts on this? It's been a long time, that one, I guess. Well, let's jump on to the next. Does self-amusement work to, that was stupid, work to
Yes, but don't go too far with it. That was like one of my biggest, I guess, stumbling points or things holding me back was I would get too self-amusey, too like, I guess, dancing monkey, where I would just keep going and keep pushing. I found that the girl would laugh. Okay, boom, I'd throw out another zinger. Boom, I'd throw out another zinger. And it felt like I was just a stand-up comedian and there was no real, I guess, attraction there. And I actually made a post about this, but I could go on dates and girls would be laughing so hard they'd literally be spitting out their drinks, but they wouldn't be leading themselves into my bed, right? Like there was no sexual energy there. So yes, it does definitely help you be more playful, get out of your head, but again, just don't go too far with it.
Dude, self-amusement as a concept, I can't understand, but the application of this from RSD and all their students, absolutely not. I mean, everyone knows this does not build any attraction with women whatsoever. If you see a guy lying on the floor in the club or doing a crab dance or doing other shit, like it never ever built attraction with fucking women. No girl saw that and was like, I want to fuck this guy. Now, if you want to do some type of like getting out of your comfort zone exercise, maybe, but even then, like, I think it's a good thing that it feels weird to lay on the floor in the middle of the club. Like, that's a good intuition to have. Like, if I had a student that just rocked up to coaching and laid on the floor and was like, yeah, I just feel a bit tired. I'm like, bro, you look retarded. You look socially uncalibrated. Like, I wish you had something inside of you that told you not to do this. So, like, I think if you want to expand your comfort zone, you can do it in like socially calibrated ways. I think if you want to practice, taking the pressure off a little bit, or if you want to practice like creating emotion or not good at putting the goal on a pedestal, you can do that in a calibrated way. Like at the end of the day, like there is another girl in front of you that you should calibrate to, that like that's the person you're speaking to. Like don't be selfish, right? Like this is a two-way street. Now, sure, some guys are 100% only caring what the girl thinks, and they should worry a little bit more about their own internal state. But the way this was taught was just so toxic. Like it's just, I'm so frustrated because I have students that do this. They come into set, they do stupid shit, and it's fucking annoying. But go for it, Jordan.
Just clarify this. So I thought self-amusement was just not holding back on things that you find funny, saying the thing and not worrying about how it's perceived, just to kind of loosen up. Is this something?
I think Marcus is talking about like those exercises that guys would advocate to like get into state. Like
it's more for like
there was a
getting guys out of their it's more for like getting guys out of their shells because of insecurities and shit like that. It's like it's good to bring also women. Like here's a quick example, and then I'll shut up and let you guys take it. But I remember seeing guys like they would pretend to meditate on the floor and do that, and then women would join in, and it would be pretty funny. It's good for bringing people together, but you got to remember you got to move it forward from there. Like I think like face value, it's only really good for just bringing people together.
Yeah, I feel like it needs to be calibrated. Like self-amusement, not caring what the girl thinks, I think is inherently bad advice. Like if I've had students do the stupidest shit, like they're talking to a German girl and then they do like a Hitler salute or something because they think it's funny, and the girl's like incredibly offended. Now, like there's a really nice way to do self-amusement if you're a calibrated guy. Like, yeah, like if you have a funny joke that is a little bit offensive, or like the girl says she likes a particular thing and you don't like it and you're a little bit disagreeable, that's awesome. But I would teach the guys to do this in a calibrated manner. I feel like everything that was taught in the whole RSD phase was it doesn't actually matter if the girl rejects you or not, as long as you're having fun, is what a lot of students took away from that. So like, yes, there's a nice way, or there's a calibrated way to teach guys that you shouldn't like just be doing what the girl wants or putting her on some type of pedestal or not doing anything that's like fun or engaging or exciting. But it just needs to be done through the lens of calibration is important. Like if the girl is super offended by this and walks away, that wasn't good self-amusement. You can't walk away from that. At least I had fun. No, like you fucked that setup, right? Like, which is fine as part of practice, but that shouldn't be encouraged. And I feel like the problem with self-amusement, at least what people took from it, is that was encouraged. It doesn't matter if the girl's offended. It doesn't matter if I look like a fucking loser, as long as I'm having fun. And that sounds like a really like uncalibrated, like toxic, selfish way to treat like social interactions.
It's Clavicular.
Yeah, I will say again, just looking at the question itself is, does self-amusement work to pick up girls? Again, no girl's going to walk up to you and be like, hey, let's go to your place because you're self-amused. It's a good thing to, yeah, have some congruency. Let the unique parts of your personality come through. You have a unique sense of humor. When you think of the funny joke, don't self-censor that joke, as long as it's not the Hitler salute to the German girl. Depends on how many girls you want to turn off, right? But like, yeah, showcase a little bit of your authentic personality. But there's places where, hey, if you're not getting the results that you want, maybe your current personality is not good enough and you need to grow. It's more about just, hey, let's focus on being attractive. Let's focus on creating good logistics. Let's focus on all of the things that contribute to moving the set forward. And then, yeah, make sure that you're actually enjoying the process. If the process is totally out of alignment with who you are and what you want out of life, then yeah, that's a problem. But yeah, I'm kind of on Marcus's camp on this one.
I look at this one a little differently than what we've been talking about so far. I mean, I agree with all the stuff you guys are saying, but as far as self-amusement, how I look at it, I'm sure you guys can relate to this. When you're going out a lot and meeting a lot of women, sometimes the interactions get super boring and very repetitive, right? You ask a lot of the same questions. It's like sometimes I have like a limiting belief after all these years. I'm like, I don't want to go and get to know another stranger. Like it just gets boring, right? You've been doing it for so long. So I look at self-amusement as something that you can do to get yourself in a better mood so that you're enjoying it more. So recently I did 2 things that have helped me with this. One thing was I made a list in my phone of fun questions to ask the girls. So I get like, you get in a routine of asking the same things. Oh, how long have you lived here? Or how do you know, so I made a list of like really fun questions to ask girls that are just unconventional. Like we used to do back in the day, like with our qualifiers and stuff like that. So I made a list of that. And when I'm talking to girls, sometimes I'll be like, all right, let's ask a fun question. I'll either hand her the phone or I'll pick one for myself. So that's like fun. That's like a fun little thing that I did just to be self-amused and make it more fun. And another thing I've done too is I do exercises as well at home when I have my students do them too, where you just write down some of the common things that come up and you try to come up with more clever ways of talking about them and injecting humor into it. So like, for example, I was talking to some girls last weekend. This isn't like great game, but it was self-amusing. So that's why I'm sharing it. So the girl asked, what do I do? And I said, have you ever seen Magic Mike? Right. And they all start laughing right away. And I'm like, yeah. So picture Magic Mike and a car wash put together. And they're like, what? And I said, yeah. And it's called Suds and Studs. Right. And it's just like, it's a random thing, but like girls like that. They cracked up. And then in a self-amused way, I was like, man, that's good. I haven't used that one in a while. I'll have to bring that one back. So like that is probably an example of self-amusement in an interaction. It worked really well. But I was doing that because I wanted to switch up kind of what I was saying a little bit to bring something out that was more fun to me, which carried over and was more fun to them as well too. So I think that can be positive. It's not everything. It's just one little thing you can add in. But I would say if you're getting bored with your interactions and you're really pounding the pavement and meeting a lot of women, you could do a couple of those things to make it a little bit more fun for you, which will make it more fun for the women.
Yeah, I mean that sounds awesome. I sound frustrated. I just don't like the
I'm with
RSD
you, by the way,
teaching
Marcus.
of self-amusement. Yeah.
That stuff, I'm not
If
about
we
it.
called this like a different word, like having fun for yourself in the club or something, and you talked about like creating some new routines that were like engaging for yourself, or getting to a point where the girl like wants to fucking suck your dick and you make her chase and chase and chase and you give it LMR or something, and then like she fucking can't stand it anymore and she's like ripping your clothes up, like all of that's amazing. It's just this whole idea that the RSD just basically taught to be uncalibrated encourager. That's what I was against. If we want to use like a different word for it and describe it in that way, I'm all for it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's important to let that sense of humor come out. I mean, obviously not to the point where it's like insulting, and don't talk about religion, politics, whatever, when you're just first getting to know somebody. But I just find it so much funner when a girl actually has a sense of humor, right? Like I'll go up to a girl who's like 5'2", and I'll say, "Holy shit, you're tall. Can you teach me how to dunk? You got to be like 6'8", right?" Some girls are like, "What? No, I'm like 5'2". And other girls, they find it hilarious. So I'm like, okay, this girl is going to be fun getting to know. The whole process is going to be enjoyable when we're on the date. Yeah, it's going to be great. But yeah, if a girl doesn't get my sense of humor, then it's hard to kind of, because I like to joke a lot, right? And it depends on you and your style as well too. So yeah, I think there is whether we want to call it self-amusement or making yourself laugh or getting out of your head, whatever that is. Yeah, just loosening up and being playful is definitely important. Because again, it also made me think of this too. We all know the guy who, around his buddies, he's making jokes, he's breaking his friend's balls, but then all of a sudden a girl comes around and he's like, "Guys, come on, don't be like that around ladies, okay?" And he just changes his personality. And I think a lot of it is just, being that, if you want to put it in air quotes, goofy self, but not being afraid to just loosen up a bit.
Alrighty, let's jump on to the next one. Should you isolate her from her friends before trying to pull, or just leave the club at the same time as her, then try to bounce to a new place after the friends split off themselves? One quick clarification for one here. I don't like the term isolate or isolation. I think we should just use a one-on-one. Just much easier and less of a strange word to use.
I would do neither. And it depends on like how many friends you have. So if the girl's got like 5 friends, then yeah, like I would try to get some manipulated isolation away from her friends. So, I'm kidding. You try to get some like one-on-one time with her and then go for the pull, right? But if you're dealing with just a true set and it's 2 girls, then you're not going to be able to get her away from her friend. Like no girl is going to be like, "Oh yeah, do you mind if we just go to the bar and your friend can sit in the corner by herself?" It's not going to happen. That's going to be a scenario where you're going to have to literally wait to the end of the night when you guys leave and you get their friend an Uber home and then you take your girl home, unless you have a wing, unless you're able to introduce her to another guy, unless you want to set up a threesome or some shit. But like most of the time, like 90%, it's just going to be a matter of, okay, I'm going home with you. You establish that, and don't wait to the end. Like don't wait till it's like fucking 3 a.m. and try go for it then. Like you should be 30 minutes in this set, and then you could say like, "Yeah, what's the deal? Like when are you guys plan on leaving?" You should tell your girl like, "Yeah, you're coming to mine," and then say, "What do we do about your friend?" Right? She's like, "Well, I'm not going to leave her now. No problem." At the end of the night, we get her an Uber home, and then you come home with me. She agrees. Then all you have to do is stay in set and wait for that to happen. So yeah, I've got a couple of videos out on this actually just recently on like how to deal with 2 sets and shit like that. But that would be my game plan.
I'll play the matchmaker sometimes. Like if I'm really hitting it off with a girl, I'll turn to her friend and be like, "What kind of guys are you into?" She'll tell me. I'll be like, "What about that guy over there?" And then I'll go introduce her. And then hopefully they hit it off. But a lot of times the guy just ends up acting weird and ends up blowing it out. And then she ends up coming back to us and I'm like, "Fuck." I tried at least. Right. But yeah, I mean, you could do that or befriend another guy at the club. Right. If you're just there by yourself, go around, make friends. "Hey man, you looking to socialize, whatever, get laid tonight? Come with me." So that way you have someone else that you vibe with. But yeah, it's hard to work the 2 set for sure. If there's more friends, then they can kind of entertain themselves. But the question disappeared, so I can't even remember what he originally asked.
Yeah. What was the question again? I got to see that.
Oh yeah, that was bit of a line one. Let me find it again.
It's true.
Here we go. Yeah. Is she isolate from her friends before or just leave the club at the same time? So you should be screening logistics and knowing how they got there, you know, how they know the friends. Kind of you want to know what the situation is, and it's going to depend on how they got there, where they're going after. So a simple question I got from Sin back in the day is like, what are you guys up to after this? So if you're like, well, she's like, my friend's staying with me, I have to drive her home, right? Or the best answer to that question is always, I don't know. What are you up to, right? So you want to screen and kind of see what the logistics are. Ideally, you'd like to isolate the girl, but you don't want to like isolate her or get one-on-one, right? I don't want to use the a triggering word for you. So you want to get her one-on-one, and you want the other friends to know what's going on. Like you're not trying to like get her away from the friends and like hide and pull her away. Like you should tell her to talk to her friends. If you invite her back to your place, be like, hey, you know, talk to your friends and see what the deal is. I'll take you back or whatever. Then usually I let them go and have that conversation, and she talks with her friends and works out the logistics for you. So you don't want to like do it in a creepy or a weird way. Like you do have to use some leadership and make a decision, but you need to know the logistics. And like I would need if this person could give me a very specific situation, then I could give them exactly a game plan on what to do. Because it is case dependent for sure.
Yeah, it's a little vague.
Yeah.
So most of my experience in groups,
right, Marcus, you change what you're doing depending on each situation, right? Like if they're in this type of situation and they're roommates, or this one's visiting from out of town, right? Or it's a 3-set, or this one's talking to a guy or not, like depending on all these variables, you're gonna have to do a different thing.
So your goal as a man is always to be a logistic problem solver. You want to figure out what is everybody trying to accomplish tonight. If her friends are all party mode, they're in town visiting your city for the weekend, like the odds of you pulling this off are a little bit slimmer, unless your girl is just red hot rearing ready to go. Then it's facilitating, okay, hey, oh, you guys are going to that place? Oh no, only if this is a better place. Like, oh, don't go there, go to this one, it's better. Hey, you're trying to help them have a good night, you're advocating on the side of the group. And then, okay, great, you guys trust me, her and I are going to go off later, and you're very transparent with it. Like if you're on their side, if you're contributing to the group, they're a little bit more willing to let you go off with their friend. You don't want to be the weird creepy guy who is just trying to steal her away from the group all the time without their knowledge. I will say most of my experience in large groups is going to come back to that social circle environment, or I'm approaching the group and I'm just being a social guy. I'm throwing people into this social funnel. When it's large groups, that tends to be more my game plan, because I tend to deal more with women who live here. I'm trying to kind of build that so that I have to do less of just the active hardcore go pull tonight kind of game. So in the social circle environment, typically what I'm letting happen is there will be this burning interest. And what happens is that girl kind of isolates herself. That girl will find an excuse to be the last one there. Or you're just always asking the logistic questions. Hey, what's your game plan after this? You're trying to suss out if her plan after this is, oh, I've got dinner with my dad. She's probably not going to flake on that. But if she's like, oh, you know, I'm not too sure yet. Great. Hey, you and me are going to do this. We're going to go back to mine, or we're going to get a drink, or whatever it is. It's your next logistical thing. The 2-set's a special exception to everything. I'm again pretty much on board with Marcus on that one. I don't have too much to add on it. You want to make sure that the friend is having a good time, that the friend is safe, and that the friend knows and is okay with whatever's happening between you two. The handful of times I've been in those situations, it's been kind of 50-50 whether bringing them both back. A couple of times it's led to threesomes, but sometimes it's just you bring them both back and then you're like, oh, hey, we're going to go over here real quick. We're going to go check out the view on the balcony. You do your thing. You come back and the friend's like, oh, haha. Yeah, or just get the friend a fucking Uber. Okay, cool. You're partied out. You had a good time. I'm going to take her home. And that's all there is to it. Yeah, I'm not huge on the whole pulling the girl from the large group at the club or at the bar kind of vibe. That's not generally the situation I found myself in.
Yeah. You could make an argument too, whether it would be more beneficial to just focus on pulling the one girl, or whether it would be more beneficial to gather a bunch of numbers, but not just, you know, get the number and dash, actually build a little bit of rapport or whatever, sexual escalation. And let's say you get 15 numbers that night, and then you can work those leads throughout the week, versus just rolling the dice and hoping it works with the one girl.
I mean, I got an amazing example of this. I talked earlier in the call about this girl from LA. It was like she was with, I think, 12 friends, mixed group, guys and girls. There's a lot of fucking chaos happening in this set. I'm like, listen, she's really attractive. We had a decent vibe, but there's already a lot going on. My odds of this heading anywhere are slim to none right now. So great. Hey, let's exchange Instagrams. Let's meet up next time you're in Scottsdale. Oh, yeah, sounds amazing. And then 6 months later, hits me up for fucking Halloween party. Comes to Halloween party. I've got 4 girls there that I'm hooking up with and an ex-girlfriend and a date. And I'm like, ah, shit. All right. I don't even have time for this chick. And then another, I think it was 4 or 5 months go by. And she's like, oh my God, you're in Vegas? Me too. We have to hang out. And then boom, it closes. So it's like, I don't know. Sometimes just throwing them into this Instagram funnel, I don't want to have to deal with a shit ton of logistics sometimes. Sometimes it's just, okay, great. That's a whole fucking nightmare. My expected value on my evening is higher if I go someplace where the energy level is lower and I can actually work this out.
It's funny,
I think it's important to. I was going to say, I think. All right, go for it, Oscar.
It's funny. I had cases where there were 2 girls taking them back, and if in the case that it's not a threesome, it's funny that this one particular time, for example, where I was pulling to was just a 1-room place. So it was one of those situations where one girl's like starting to jack me off and get in bed with me, and the other's just like on the sofa opposite, like kind of watching, but just on her phone doing her thing, because she wants her girl, she wants her home girl, her best friend, to get laid, kind of thing. So it's funny how it works. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't want to waste time in your night. So, like, back to the whole point, like, you shouldn't be in a set with a girl for 2 hours not knowing if you're pulling. Right? Like, see that pull a lot earlier, and if you get a lot of objections you can't deal with, then it's fine. Like, yeah, grab her number and like go fucking speak to someone else. But like, if you're able to overcome it, and this girl's like, yes, I'm coming home with you later, then yeah, obviously, like, stay in that set. It's, you're fucking basically.
All right, let's jump on to the next one. Hey guys, how would you handle an objection, no sex on a first date?
When does that objection come up? Like, that objection, where it comes up is so important, dude. If it's before the date, I laugh at it because it's not real. If it's if it's while we're in the bedroom and hands are on peepees, then okay, yeah, it's just a freeze out. Okay, yeah, hey, whatever, no problem. You go back to whatever you're doing and try again in 20, 30 minutes. Or you're trying to figure out, okay, why? Where's this coming from? But yeah, it really, really depends on where the objection is coming from. If it's just her saying this before you go on the date, literally just don't pay attention to the words, because she's had sex on first dates probably before. So don't worry about it. Don't make it a big deal. This is something I can't fucking stand when the red pill guys are like, no, you need to come over and fuck me on the first date. It's like, bro, she would have if you just didn't fucking say anything. It's a shit test. Ignore it. It's fine. But if it's last minute resistance, I think it's pretty much just the same for everybody. It's like, okay, whatever. Don't be needy. Escalate again in 15, 20 minutes. Don't worry about it and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think there's usually 3 reasons as to why like girls hit this objection, if they actually mean it. Some girls are just like, they're DHVing basically, right? Like, we DHV by talking about how many girls we fuck. Girls DHV by talking about how little guys they fuck, right? It's an access issue. So sometimes girls are just trying to like seem fucking cool in front of you. They're like, yeah, I haven't been with many guys. Like, okay, cool. But otherwise, it might actually be legitimate reasons as to why. Like, one, they're worried that if I have sex with you right now, you're going to get so fucking needy. Like, you're going to message my phone nonstop. You're going to rock over my house. This happened to me before. Another reason is the opposite of that, which is you're just going to fucking dump me. I really like you. I have some feelings that I get attached during sex, and then you're never going to see me again. And then the third reason is she's just worried the sex is going to be shit. Like, these girls that say like sex is better after you wait and blah, blah. They've been with guys that on that first night, the guy's like literally fucked, came in 30 seconds, not gone down on the girl at all, not giving a fuck, and being like, that was really fun. Did you enjoy it? And the girl's like, kill me now. So dark also says often shit. Often girls have a lot of regret about it. So when this happens, I usually, as long as it's not like that first reason, right? If this happens, then I just explain to the girls, I get it. right? You should not have sex with guys on the first night. I agree with you. Her defenses drop. She's like, yes. And then I explain why. I'm like, it's either this, or this. You've probably experienced it before. She's like, 100%. And I'm like, and then I just say, you need to find the guy you're gonna have a fucking amazing night with, that isn't gonna be too needy, and he's willing to see you again. And I just leave it like that. And obviously I'm hinting, or very clearly, that I'm that guy. And then I demonstrate this. I have some sexual authority, I build that tension up, and this objection tends to go away fairly quickly when you do that.
She's thinking, oh my God, he gets me.
Yeah, straight up.
As a professional salesman, I'm just going to hop in on this one. If I listened to prospects who got on and told me, oh, yeah, I never buy on the first call, I would lose my fucking job, bro. I would not have been able to build the teams that I've been able to build. This is just patently false. It means she's not ready right now, and it's your job as the man to figure out why that is. And if you can present a solution that's good for both of you, it doesn't mean that she's never going to be sexually attracted to you. It means your value isn't high enough right now. It's up to you. If she's a 4, she's a 5, whatever. Hopefully you're not talking to her in the first place. But if you actually find her attractive and you would like to have sex with her, then it's your job to solve that shit. This is just such a binary, black and white, silly way to look at game.
Here's something for the guys watching this. One of the girlfriends I had in the past, what did she say to me when I was pulling her home? She said, we're not going to have sex. It's pretty much a very similar thing, if not the same thing. What happens? We have sex like within 1 hour after arriving at my place. And she stayed for 7 days straight, and we did anal. She became my girlfriend. Like she said, we're not going to have sex. Oh my God, we had sex. She fucking lied to me. What's happening? Women just say this, and they just don't know you enough yet. They haven't. There's so many things we can say about this, and some of those things have already been said. It is not obviously necessarily true. Mr. Rocario says in the chat, if she says to you she don't have sex on the first date, that means she's not sexually attracted to you. Do we
sorry, yeah, let's address this student in chat, Mr. Lucario. So obviously he is struggling here a little bit with women, so we'll help him out. If she says to you she don't have sex on the first date, as I said, there's a lot of reasons women say this. One is because they're attracted. Now, if you're dating a lot of girls that are just ratchet and all that attractive, they might just be straight up and say, I fuck all the time on first dates. But most girls try to defend how they're perceived. So most girls, there's that whole meme about this where girls like, I never do this. That's the first time it happened. The reason they're doing that is they're socially aware enough to show that, hey, I'm trying to come across as attractive here. So yeah, if she says it, it may mean she's not attracted to you for sure. But if you're a generally attractive guy that's sleeping with a lot of girls, the reason is one of those 3 things I said earlier. Does anyone else want to help out this student?
Coach Mog, love it.
For context, for the guys watching, Mr. Rocario has debated Marcus quite a few times. It's this thing.
I try to help it. It's more of a coaching session. It's a free one that we do live for everyone to see. But if he has any other questions, feel free to put them up here. We'll help you out.
Inside jokes here.
It depends on what she asks it, like Jordan was saying, right? Like when that objection comes up. Like if it comes up when you're pretty far down the line and you're getting there and like you're in the bedroom and she says that, then usually that's a genuine objection. And that's when like I'm not gonna like do LMR tactics and like try to for hours to keep making it happen. I'm just usually like, yeah, that's totally cool. And then I just preserve her comfort, and then you can just go out with her another time. Honestly, I'm not big into like the LMR stuff and all that. If she says it late, and like all the guys said too, if she says it earlier, yeah, it could just be. I like what Marcus said. Like it's like a DHV for her, right? She's saying like, oh, I'm actually haven't been with that many guys. So they're just saying that because she doesn't want to be judged negatively. So you could see what happens and proceed according to plan. But yes, and if it's something late, me personally, I don't really plow through LMR.
What if? Because I kind of agree with you here, but I kind of disagree with you at the same time. So please. I'm curious, like say the girl was on a period, right? And you're about to have sex, you're about to take her panties off, and then she's like, actually, I don't want to have sex right now. Like, so you'd be like, no, it's cool. And there's, you chill out. And I agree with you, by the way. I'm not a big fan of this, like, push-pull kind of shit when it comes to LMR. But
we've done it, right? And it just like I've back in the day I did it more, and I just like felt too like pushy.
But I'm curious, like say that example where the girl's on a period and she would otherwise want to have sex if she knew you were comfortable with it. Are you not worried that you might miss out on that opportunity if you don't address it? I guess
well, you could do something else, right? Wouldn't you just want to doing something else?
Just take her in the shower.
Right? Like do
yeah,
something
that's
else.
what I mean. But like if she doesn't say I'm on my period and just says I'm not having sex tonight.
But she's saying it because of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That you're saying. Well, yeah, then you kind of look, you start with foreplay and move your way on. If something in the foreplay area is getting going, then yeah, you could continue doing that. But like that does happen. I had a girl years ago where like she put up so much resistance, and this was back when I would like try the push pull and the last minute resistance, and she wound up, eventually get down and she had a tampon, and I'm like, oh well, duh, that's why she didn't want to, right? So I mean, guys forget that women are bleeding out of that area for 25% of their lives, right? Guys seem to forget that, right? Or sometimes girls didn't prepare and didn't shave or whatever. So this whatever reasons they don't want to. So yeah, I mean,
that's another good example. Like they're not shaving. So like I think, because I agree with you, and maybe we're on the same page. Let me know. But I think when that happens, like a really easy thing to do and a really nice thing to do for girls is just sit back and be like, yeah, it's chill, and then I'll just say like, I'm curious, what's up?
That's a good way. Yeah, that's a masculine.
And then they can say,
handling it. Yeah.
And then like they could just say like, I haven't shaved, and I'll just be like, there's a razor in the bathroom. Or I'll be like, I don't give a fuck. And some girls, I agree, like some girls might be like, oh, it's nothing. And I would move a little bit more there. I would be like, well, obviously something, right? Like we're attracted to each other, we're in bed, we're just making out, like all this is happening. Like obviously something's up. I prefer you to be open enough to like tell me. Otherwise, like this feels really weird. Like if you're not into me, just say it. And a lot of girls are like, fuck, I don't want him to think I'm not into him. And they're like, actually, okay, I'm on my period. Like red towels are here, I don't give a fuck. Or I think Devin mentioned the shower. So I agree. I think these tactics of like this just persistence when girls are like saying no is like really weird. But I think like, leading with like curiosity there can be a nice way to like figure it out. Maybe
I think
I like that. A lot of guys will
down at the end, like you're on
a lot
top
of guys
of her,
will
you
have
guys are making out. Sorry, who am I? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ice.
A lot of guys will have some insecurities about this, so she may be basing it off, obviously, as Marcus was getting into this, how you may respond, whether that's to do with however guys have responded in the past to, oh my God, she's bleeding, scary. And guys just, it's not part of their reality. It's not like some guys haven't grew up with sisters. Even if they did, they probably didn't fucking see what was going on with that, and they'll be kind of weird anyway. So just imagine the sheer amount of guys who are just completely inexperienced with, oh my God, what do I do? She said she hasn't shaved her legs. Oh, I'm going to freak out. Or she's bleeding because she's on her period, and they're scared of getting blood on their dick or something because they've never done it before. They don't know how to deal with it. So in some cases, she may be afraid that you lack the experience or the the confidence in how to deal with something like this. But where Marcus is getting at is, hey, you're leaning back, you're explaining you're giving her the comfort trigger word for Marcus.
Trust.
That you're giving her the right communication that, hey, it's okay, it's one of those things. I'm losing my vocabulary here, so I'll shut up.
No,
yes,
it's
I think
a
a lot of it
good
comes
point,
down
and
to
it's
how
like you
she's
can
saying it
can
too.
either like
So
go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah. So if you're hot and heavy in the moment, she's like, oh no, I can't, or no, hey, like it's a very shy, just normal person. Seems like there's a legitimate thing under the surface. The phrase for me is like, hey, everything all right? It's like, oh yeah, no worries. You okay? Just checking in on her, like, hey, I want to make sure like everything is fine in your world. You're kind of again stepping into that masculine, everything is safe and okay and chill while you're around me, and then giving her that space. I'll be honest, guys, I'm not huge on period sex. Like even with my main girl, it's okay, but like Outside of that, with a random, I don't love the smell of it. That's not particularly fulfilling. I'd rather just do the beach and be fine with it, or whatever. We'll hook up another time. But if it's like a firm, no, hey, not tonight. Like, whoa, no worries, that's okay. That's more rare, at least in my recent experience. I had one girl who I think, actually, to Mr. Lucario's point, where I can concede a little bit of ground, if she's like that, then yeah, she's just not sexually attracted to you. And with those girls, no amount of tactics or freeze outs or anything is going to change her mind. At that point, it's like, hey, no worries, it was good meeting you, and you know, hey, let me get you an Uber and get you home safe. I would try maybe one more time, and if she's still just acting too firm about it, you fucked something else up somewhere. Oh well, you live and you learn. Your best bet now is to leave with your head high and say, okay, hey, yeah, still be a gentleman. Don't treat her like shit. Just, okay, yeah, I'll
Call another girl in front of her.
Yeah. Well,
that's abundance.
I will do that without telling
This one's
her.
bleeding.
I
Let me
will,
call
I
in
will
the
pick up my phone and I will.
This one's broken.
In front of, like, not telling her what I'm doing, because yeah, I'm not gonna fucking be blue balled for the night. But like, I don't know, dude. I don't necessarily believe in punishing them for that. It's just more like, okay, well, hey, you know what? She's not into it. It's fine. But yeah, those are kind of the two main ways that it can happen. It's really important to be cued in on how she's saying it. What is the underlying message here? Is it, I want to, but I'm concerned, or is it, I don't want to at all? You're not going to change the I don't want to a yes, nor should you try. But the I want to, I'm just concerned, that's absolutely manageable.
So you said the underlying message, which I'm glad you said that, because that's kind of what I want to explain with this. Where Ice, you said you don't want to do like what the other guys have done in the past, right? That's what she's kind of preventing. So think of the underlying message. What you don't want to do in these situations is you don't want to show desperation, which desperation would be you got to keep trying because you're never going to get this chance again. Yeah, why not? And you definitely don't want to do the other thing that a lot of guys do is get angry. You don't want to be like, yeah, I took you out on a date, or we've been out. So you don't want to do those. And what Marcus shared was cool because it has two underlying messages. And I'm glad you challenged me on that one, because that one shows understanding, right? You ask her the question like, hey, is something up? It's understanding. And it's also just confidence as well too, right? Because a lot of people are like afraid to bring up the topics. You're like, hey, just I'm curious, like, what's up? Like, so it's a confidence, it's a leadership, it's an understanding. Those are good underlying messages. But if it's anything that comes from desperation or anger or anything like that, like those are, you really want to avoid that like crazy in those late case situations.
Can we hit this this question? When she gives resistance, plays hard to get, why not just walk away and find someone else? Because I think this is speaking to exactly what we were just talking about that underlying message.
Yeah, because this is
understanding.
Oh, sorry,
it's about empathy. What these guys are lacking is they don't have an understanding of that female mind and what she's saying. In their mind, any no is just automatically, you're not good enough, I hate you, you have a small penis and you're a shrimp egg, whatever. It's just like this harsh, evil rejection. Sometimes a woman just doesn't want to have sex because, yeah, she hasn't shaved or whatever. There's all these other possibilities. And so we're just trying to suss out, hey, is this because she doesn't like us? In which case, yeah, that's fine. Go find another one. It's okay. There's plenty of fish in the sea. We don't need to pull out all the stops and try to get this one if she's genuinely just not interested. But usually, at least with the guys on this panel where this is coming in, is sometimes there's just logistical concerns. Yeah, she might be worried about like, oh my God, I haven't freshened up today. Or maybe she's got a fucking STD, bro. You don't fucking know. Maybe she's got a yeast infection. She didn't even do anything wrong. It's just fucking life happens. She got a yeast infection and she's embarrassed to tell you. That's where you're like, hey, is it everything okay? And she'd be like, it's embarrassing. No, I like you, whatever. All we're doing is we're trying to have some empathy for her situation and figure out, where is the rejection coming from? Is it a rejection of you and I'm not interested? Or is it a, hey, this is not a good situation, not a good time? So I would encourage you, man, just a little more nuanced way of looking at these situations. Try to put yourself in the girl's shoes, because that'll make dating, especially long-term relationships, a lot better for you, man. As if you try to have some empathy, you make this a win-win. It's not an adversarial relationship with women where for you to win and get sex, she has to lose because she's an evil 304. No, we're two amazing people. And we're sharing this fun, awesome, magical moment together where all of our endorphins go crazy and we build attachment for each other. And that's the way to view sex. That's the way to view relationships. It's not this adversarial thing.
Well said. I think
you have a yeast infection and you haven't shaved your legs. That's okay. I can close my eyes and we can do it.
my man. Yeah, I think the big thing here is female understanding. You need to understand the game, or you need to understand what's going on in this girl's mind. If you just look at this from like your own perspective and you just have no idea about women whatsoever, then it's going to feel like she's playing games. It's going to feel like she's putting up resistance. And you're going to sit there and be like, why should I have to go through this? I didn't even know this fucking girl. Like, why she makes it so... It's the wrong way to look at it. When I see a girl going to the extent of saying, I don't usually do this, like I'm usually a good girl. When she's saying all this shit, I know she's saying it because of how much she likes me. If she didn't give a fuck, right? Like if she knew she was never seeing me again, she wouldn't bother saying that. She just have sex with me and wouldn't give a fuck, right? Like the reason women might seem like they make it hard is because they're trying to win you over. They're putting in effort to get you. So when I see this, I'm not like, well, fuck this bitch. Understand her psychology. So next time you see that, you don't need to give up and like try to find a girl that is going to be so desperate that she'll have sex with anyone and say it. Is find a girl that's trying to win you over, right? Like that's the difference.
All right, so we got some clarification here. Yeah, I don't think anybody's saying that you have to go chase this girl down. If it ends on a weird note and you don't think there's compatibility there, then yeah, don't waste your time on her. But there's been girls in my past who, like especially some of the virgins, man, you know, sex is still a big deal. Or if they've got a body count under 5, sometimes they don't always want to hook up on the first date. And being okay, if there's a rock solid connection there and there's some attraction there and you think this girl is worth your time, she's been respectful otherwise, I would encourage you to maybe not put sex on the pedestal that way. Obviously, it's better to get it out of the way sooner than later, but you know, 2-3 dates is okay. If it goes beyond that and she's still being rude, or yeah, you're talking about makes an effort with you, yeah, absolutely, that's a good screen. You know, if she seems like she's put in effort, that's fine. Go hit her up again. If she's being a cunt to you, then yeah, don't waste your time. But I don't think that's where this last minute kind of, oh, I don't hook up thing is coming from most of the time.
All right, let's start to wrap this up. So I'm going to speed it up a bit. Instead of going for 24 hours like last time, let's jump to the next one. Amazing value, guys. Another question. Maybe this will be the last question. When a girl runs prize frames, how do you avoid getting into frame battles altogether and instead make her naturally drop into your frame without resistance?
What's a prize frame? Like, oh, she's the prize that you should be marching.
I'm a princess. Guys need to spend $100 to go on a date with me.
I'm only okay. So
examples.
When I hear that, I think, oh, you got to take me for dinner first. And so, yeah, it's like the objection handling, right? It's just like, call me crazy, but I don't think getting to know each other with our mouths full of food and picking food out of our teeth is a great way. Let's go for drinks instead, right? Just don't, fall into her frame. I'm not sure I completely get what he's asking here. I hope that answered it.
I think he's asking about how to, like, when a girl asserts something like this, kind of like as a shit test, how to avoid kind of getting into that battle of wills. Because when you get in an argument with a woman, you never win. The second that you're arguing with a girl, you've lost. It just kind of comes back to the whole change her mood, not her mind. There's a lot of ways to pass a shit test, whatever it is. Agree and exaggerate is always a good one. You're like, you know what? Actually, I think what we should do, let's go ahead, pull out your phone. You got Google Flights? No? Okay, well, we're going to go to Paris first for our first date. And then I'm thinking probably like 40, 50 dates before you touch the wiener. Is that okay? And just make it fucking ridiculous. Or you can go the other route and just like clowning on her. Or like, oh my God, whoa, hey, let's back off for a second. Who said I was interested? Just making it fun, lighthearted, not getting into an argument is the only way to win. The only way to win is change her mood, not her mind.
When I see this question, I wish
dismiss her on the spot. Okay, alpha male.
I wish he'd give examples, because sometimes what I see is, one, guys start this battle. They actually start prize framing first. So they walk into the set and they'll say something obnoxious. And then the girl will say something obnoxious back, and they're like, "Oh, she's trying to price her." It's like, well, you kind of started this whole thing in the first place. So that's something you got to be careful of, that you're not actually the one introducing the computational frame. Sometimes it's just a cultural thing. Like if you're dating an Eastern European girl, they will want you to take them to dinner, not because they're trying to get a free meal out of you, but because that's how they do things culturally, back in fucking Ukraine or Russia or whatever it is. So it might not necessarily be a price frame. It's just an expected cultural thing that you, again, can try to shift, but understand where it's coming from. There are some girls that the archetype is kind of like the man hater or the red pill girl, where they've been hurt before and now they just have this big wall up. And so they try to get a lot of investment for you first. So it's like, well, I'm not going to give you my number unless, and this is where all the prize framing starts to happen. When this occurs, I agree with Jordan. You don't really want to fight her against this. One thing I just say is, again, show understanding. I'm like, you like to test guys, eh? And if the friend's there, she'll always agree. And I'm like, yeah, you want to make sure you're not with a pussy, so you test guys. I think that's a really cool thing. And then if she does it again, I'll tell her, like, you don't have to try so hard. It's okay. And now we created the frame that she's testing guys, right? That's what she does. I understand her. And every time she does it, it's like a try hard move, right? Like she's trying to screen. So we're like, it's okay. You don't have to, test so hard. You don't have to try so hard. And she'll stop doing it. But I agree with Jordan. If you sit there and you try to like prize frame back the whole fucking time, like you're going to end up hating her. She's going to end up hating you. It's going to go nowhere. So be cautious.
This is another one of those questions where I would need to know a little more context to know how to deal with it. Like I'd like to know what the girl's saying. I'd like to know if it's on a cold approach or like you're on a date with her, right? I'd like to know a little bit more of the context. But in general, like me personally, I like really down to earth women. So like if the girl is really like pushing this, not necessarily as a test, but that's really what she's looking for, like that's just not going to be someone for me. And like that's a big thing too, where like I know what we teach and everything we're on the panel, we're trying to give everybody the best case scenario strategy that's going to work the most amount of times. I get that. But you got to remember too, you have to have your own standards, right? And for me personally, if I'm talking to a girl who wants me to do X, Y, and Z, all this stuff for her, and I just met her, for me, that is a red flag. And if she really does believe that, I don't care if I don't have sex with her. Like, I just don't want to have that. I don't want to spend any time with that woman. So
I think the big word
I think is good. If that really triggers you, if that's why you're asking this question, if that's something that's a non-negotiable for you, then yeah, maybe you should be like, yeah, I like people who are down to earth. I'm not really into all that stuff. I like people who just like to spend time with me and aren't looking to like do some crazy thing. I would kind of just own that frame. I totally and if she complies, she complies. If not, then yeah, it was nice meeting you.
I think the big word that's missing from these questions is repeated, because you can swing too far one way or the other, right? Like just because a girl wants the prize frame or whatever once, maybe she's just getting off work, she's stressed out, she's walked all over other guys before and is just used to doing that. She's in her masculine, whatever happens once, cool. Like try to lead the conversation, set the frame. But if she keeps doing that, then yeah, find someone else.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is like context is always really important, which is why like on a call, usually you're asking several questions like, okay, well, so at what point in the interaction did this happen? What happened before that? To Marcus's point, if it's because you went in there like a dickhead, that's not the girl being rude. That's you fucking up and you have something that you can improve there. If it's just off of the rip, like, I had a set of girls that I opened up the other day. I'm walking past, like, oh, hey, you look classy as hell tonight. She's like, no, thanks. I was like, oh, got it. Have a good night. Don't care. I'm not going to get involved in that. Or I think she said, I don't even remember what she said, but it was just one of these haughty, like aggressive frames when I'm just being genuine, open, cool. She saved me the time. I don't have to deal with that girl. We're not saying that you do this for every single chick, but if this is a pattern for you, it's important to understand why the pattern is coming up. If you consistently run into that kind of women, more than 30% of the time, it's because you're doing something wrong, and we need to look inwardly and figure out, what am I doing wrong here? If it's a one-off and it's just a girl who's being a cunt, okay, cool. I don't want to deal with that either. Nobody's saying that you should.
That's the great thing about cold approach, because I think a lot of guys just kind of roll the dice on apps. Yeah, they gamble with what the girl's going to look like if she's using outdated pictures, but also if they're going to vibe in person. right? It is a complete roll of the dice. So when you do cold approach, when you do meet someone in person, you at least know if there's that vibe, if she has that sense of humor, and then proceed forward, right? So yeah, it's a good way to eliminate that.
Alrighty, Marcus, take us away with this one.
Question from Marcus. My question is why? Why not have someone who is just easygoing and easy to get along with? Do you like difficult chicks? Well, the problem is you don't know the girl when you first meet her. So she might be an absolute fucking bitch and is just difficult and annoying and super fucking irritable. Or she could be the most sweet, nice, lovely, amazing fucking girl you've ever met. The problem is both of these girls will likely act the same way if you go up and they don't fucking know you, right? So if you go up to them and you're like, hey, I want to come meet you, both these girls might be like, oh, sorry, I'm busy. And in your mind, you're like, they're both bitches because there's one sentence she said when like the first fucking impression. What I like to do is take both of these goals and start moving it forward and seeing what they're actually like. And I'll do this as I build attraction, because as you're able to lead and be dominant, that girl that might have been like, I'm busy, will turn around and maybe now she wants to get on knees and fucking suck your dick, right? Like that's going to change. So I don't make an assumption of what this girl is like within 2 seconds of fucking meeting her, especially if you're in a context where she's with her friends or she's got other things that she's got attention with and blah, blah. Like that's completely understandable. So yeah, you just have to learn how to actually get to know the girl and do it in a way that's attractive where she's into you back. But yeah, you need a screen at some point, right? Like if after spending 10 minutes with this girl, she has an awful personality, then just move on.
I think the big question to ask, because I keep seeing comments from the one guy coming about dismissing women, at what point do you dismiss them? Because I agree. It's like, yeah, if they're not receptive off the bat, yeah, okay, maybe they're just having a bad day, whatever, see what's going on there. But you also don't want to just keep like pushing forward and keep like trying to white knuckle your way into positive reception.
Actually, I've got a question for all of you guys, because I'll give you my answer, then I'm curious your answer. The hottest girls I've ever fucked, and I include also hotness as in personality too. So we could talk about like hottest looks, but also coolest girls I've ever met. Most of them weren't super receptive to me when I first went over to them. Like, I'm curious with you guys, like the hottest girls you fucked or the coolest girls you fucked, were they immediately like 100% compliant to you when you walked up? Were they like easy?
Some of them are, some of them
Yeah,
are. It's been a mixed bag, to be totally honest with you. Yeah, first sign of resistance, dude, you're out of your mind. Like first sign of resistance, okay, tell me that your cope and that your alpha male aesthetic is more important to you than actually having relationships. But yeah, dude, it's like at a certain point dealing with people, you're always going to meet some level of friction no matter what it is. And so I find it's actually a lot better if as a man you don't concern yourself with these things, you don't react, you don't turn into somebody who gets bothered by these things and has a big emotional reaction. It's like, okay, hey, you know what, she's not super down yet, let me see if this is just because she's somebody who I'm not compatible with, or if it's maybe because she's having a bad day or I've done something wrong. You give them that benefit of the doubt. If it starts to become a pattern, cool, I'm not going to waste my time on somebody. Or if it's exceptionally rude, I'm not going to waste my time on anybody. But yeah, I would say it's been a mixed bag. Some of these girls have been just super enthusiastic. I'll say that I'm blessed to have good genetics and I put a lot of effort into my looks and my game. And so I've had some girls who are very receptive right off the front, but I've had other ones who frankly didn't want that much to do with me, but I've built the attraction through my lifestyle, through the conversation, through all of that. And I'm happy to have had both in my life.
I think the big question to ask is, yeah, again, when? Because I have some friends that, yeah, they'll kind of hang in there longer. Whereas I'm more like, okay, I'll talk to the girl for like, a minute and a half. And if things just aren't going anywhere, I'll go up to someone else and that's no problem. But he'll kind of hang in there, persevere maybe a little longer. So it just depends when you decide to call it quits. I don't think that's a good strategy where it's like she's not lighting up, like she's not fangirling right away over you. No, you don't just walk away after that. But yeah, at what point do you?
And also, I think it's important. I like what you said as a man, Jordan. Like, I think it's important to be able to reflect. And we spoke about awareness before. Ask, like, why am I having this reaction? Right? Like, if I go up to a girl and she's like, I'm busy, or like she's not like sucking a dick, okay, why do I feel the need to say, okay, well, fuck you then, basically. Like, why do I feel the need to be like, all right, well, I can do better, like so quickly? And I mean, we all know the answer to that, right? Like, there's some, like, you use the word cope, right? And it's a coping mechanism, right? Like, this is what I used to do. Like, when I first started a game, I would call girl bitches, right? Like, it'd be like, well, fuck that bitch. So this is what I used to say. I don't like her anyway, right? Like, I didn't want to speak to her anyway. So when I first went up, but over time, as you develop that level of confidence where you know this girl's opinion of me doesn't fucking matter, right? Like, if she says I'm busy when I first went up, that's not a reflection on me at all. It's probably a reflection of the drunk guy that just tried to speak to her earlier and she doesn't want to deal with that shit. She doesn't know me. So I'm just going to wait until she knows me a little bit. And then we can see what happens. Because otherwise, like, I'm asking her to make a decision on, like, what is different from me going up and approaching to you approaching? Like, she doesn't know the difference between any of us or some, like, fucking loser on the street. Like, it could be the other way around, right? Like, do I expect her to be really nice to the loser on the street? Right? No, she shouldn't be. She should say I'm busy. And she doesn't know if I'm the loser on the street. Like, she should say she's busy. Like, that, I actually think it's more valuable of the girl to do that, to be honest, right? But if that happens, like, now all I do is I start to show myself. I start to show that confidence in my head. I think with the right time, with the right opportunity, I'll build attraction. And most of the time at the level I'm at, that happens. And then I can start deciding, is this a girl I want to spend more time with or not? Now, as a beginner, like, you know, back when I was, you know, I wasn't building attraction with all of these girls, and it was really great practice until I got there. But yeah, if you're finding yourself like using the coping mechanism that I used to use of, yep, fuck it, if the girl's not like into me right away, then I can do better and fuck her. Like, this is the same mentality of those women hating fucking men, men hating women, sorry, that do the whole price frame we were talking about in the question before this, right? Like, you guys are price framing right now when you're saying like, yeah, fuck it, I can do better after like 2 seconds with this girl. So anyway, I don't think I'm changing anyone's mind in the chat that is thinking this, but hopefully they take away something from that and maybe start reflecting a little bit more. But
the most important thing that Marcus, well, sorry, a lot of it was really good. I don't want to dismiss any of it, but I think the one thing to really, really take away from that is she can't reject you as a person unless she knows you as a person. So if she's rejecting you within the first 30 seconds, she doesn't know fuck all apart from your height and how you chose to dress that way. So I don't take that personally. You can't take that personally. And maybe that's just a career in sales too, right? It's like, whatever, I don't take rejection personally. I don't think anybody here should, but we should always ask ourselves, what can I do as a man to increase my probability? And like Marcus was saying, and I think we brought it up earlier in the call, is the more time that a woman spends with me, I'm thoroughly convinced that given enough time, pretty much any girl in the world will find me attractive. And that should be your mindset going into any interaction. And so it's like, okay, whatever. She throws up this one weird block. Well, I mean, yeah, maybe it's a little bit needy for that 30 seconds to get through the block, but then after that, I'm totally chill and her attraction's going way up, up, up. I haven't lost fuck all. I've just said, hey, no, you don't understand who you're talking to. The analogy would be if a girl dropped her wallet in the grocery store and you were like, oh, hey, excuse me, miss. She's like, no, I'm busy. You'd be like, no, hey, you don't understand. I have your wallet. Oh my God, thank you so much. Same shit. It's like, no, you don't understand. I'm Jordan. I'm the sexiest motherfucker you're going to meet for the next 2 years. You don't understand. Hey, sorry, no, you don't understand. Like, that's the deal. Yeah, if it's not, whatever.
I was going to say a similar thing. Like, she's not rejecting you; she's rejecting the way you are in this moment. At the same time, it's like if you're doing direct game, for example, you're putting yourself in the position to be rejected. Whereas if you did indirect game, you're making the opportunity. You're putting that in the position of being rejected instead of you. And on top of that, nobody can truly reject you because only you are the expert of yourself. You have lived with yourself 24/7 for your entire life. She has known you for like 30 seconds. There's no such thing as her truly rejecting you. Only you can reject yourself.
If it's not a hell yes, it might as well be a no. Same with business. I mean, everyone knows here. You're in business. You're not looking for a hell yes every single day. That's the whole point of sales calls, right? Like, you take people through a funnel. They're not a hell yes. They become product aware. You get them on a sales call. You convert them. Like, that's not even a good analogy. And like, honestly, you're never going to end up with a lot of amazing women if you're looking for girls that are that easy. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. Like, if you're just relying on girls that are that easy, that, as you said, Jordan, just like you for your looks and your fashion, like, unless you're as good looking as Joe over there, okay, it's not gonna happen, right? Like, you need to be able to display something about you, because at the end of the day, then that girl is just choosing every other guy that is a similar looks or height to you or some shit. So yeah, like, especially for these red pill guys that advocate like lead count meaning so much, yet it seems like they're after like really easy women. So yeah, look, you don't need a hell yes. You can build to the hell yes once the girl gets to know you.
Yeah, if
you know who this is
within
right?
the first 10 minutes, you're gonna lose it. Like, I have a closer on my team right now who a couple of months ago, he was closing about 15 to 17% of the people who hopped on his calls. And we got on his calls and we reviewed, hey, here's what you can do differently. And now he's closing at 50% of the people he's asked this month to buy the coaching have bought the coaching. That's not a lead problem. That's not their problem. It's not because they were shitty. It was, hey, his process wasn't as good as it could be. And now 50% of people are hell yes. You can change those maybes. You're going to have 16% of girls, no matter what you do, what's one standard deviation, 16% will never fucking like you no matter what. Cool. Don't waste your time. 16% will like you no matter what you do. So yeah, don't run game. And that's enough to get by if you want to make this a giant fucking numbers game. Now, unfortunately, it tends to be that the most attractive girls fall into the 16% that doesn't love you, and the 16% that do really love you tend to be the ones who are a couple points below what you could get. But most girls are going to be somewhere in that middle where they lean a little bit yes, or they lean a little bit no. And it's your job as a man to figure out, what can I do to take all of these maybes and turn them into a hell yes. That's your job. It's not to change a no to a yes. It's to change a maybe into a yes.
I could go on and on about this. Honestly, I have so much shit to say. I know we're going to end the call soon, so I'm not going to go crazy about it. But this is a really important question. Maybe we dive into it on another time.
This could be a whole debate. Like, have these guys on.
I'll debate this guy all day. We will absolutely set this
Do you
up.
know who?
And
do you
I
know
will
who
turn
that
you, sir,
is?
your no into a hell yes.
By the way, this is Justin Adams. He was on a panel a few times with Marcus on the Sex Expert panel, for example. Guy with the beard.
Oh, do I know this guy? Okay.
Dominance Academy. Yeah. So you and him have spoken a lot on these panels before. Sex Expert.
Did we argue about this shirt? Probably. I don't know. If not, we can.
Yeah.
If he's down.
Let's fucking leave it there. Otherwise, we're going to go for fucking 24 hours again. And I did not take a shit the entire time. I didn't need to. But anyway, let's not get in fucking detail. We have only gone we've got 3.5 hours so far, and we're going to shut it down very soon. But I have had sex for longer, by the way. Anyway, what I was going to say is in this time, DHV. In this time, we have had we've seen a fucking earthquake hit me, magnitude 5 on the Richter scale. Holy shit. My wife also told me someone just fucking died, and what the fuck is going on? So interesting fucking times. Anyway, let's say the last few minutes, anything you guys want to say, it's open mic, I guess, but I seriously got to shut this down in like the next 6 minutes. Let's say I got stuff to do. Got food to order.
Does everyone just want to plug their stuff then?
Yeah, good plan.
Cool. Yeah. So if you guys are looking to get out there, meet women, be less in your head, stop overthinking conversations, follow me on YouTube and Instagram at Just Approach.
I want to say thanks to ICE for putting this together, man. Honestly, I meant what I said before. I think this is so cool. Like, when I sit and think, like, money aside, what I really like to do with like teaching and coaching, I really like connecting with other coaches. So this has been really awesome. You guys are great. I really enjoyed chatting with you. I got a lot of respect for you guys, and thanks for putting this together. I think it's super awesome to hear everybody else's perspective and learn new things. And dude, I'll be at McDonald's with the flashlight, batting the chicks off left and right after this. So,
and the tampons.
I'll get me one of them ice lights for sure. But no, man, and everybody out there listening, thanks for paying attention and have fun with this shit, man. And I hope you enjoyed it. And just thanks for having me on here. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome.
Thanks for dropping in. Any other comments?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it was nice meeting you, Joe. I think this is the first panel we've been on, but you seem like a very genuine coach, which is, I think, hard to find in this niche. To be
I
fair,
appreciate you, brother. Yeah, you
um,
guys, all you guys, thank you.
yeah,
It's okay. We're banning those guys.
It's funny you
Yeah,
mentioned
fair.
True Detective because you've got a real McConaughey vibe.
What's that?
I said it's funny that you mentioned True Detective at the beginning of this call because you have a real Matthew McConaughey vibe.
Oh, thank you, bro. Yeah, back in the day, I think in 2013, I used to go out in Austin a lot, and these guys I ran into, they used to call me McConaughey. They were like, McConaughey. But if you guys haven't seen, I used to be 350 pounds. I was like fat and ugly and like,
good for you.
Like almost married my first girlfriend. Like I was.
We should do a fat panel.
Yeah, I looked at your YouTube and saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your YouTube channel, Joe?
Joe Ducard, my name I have on here.
Joe
And
Ducard,
my
okay.
website.
Yeah. Yeah, Ultimate Man Project. Some of the topics we brought up today, I recently did videos on, so you guys can check it out. We're also doing a panel with Playing with Fire after this. So in 20 minutes, if anyone wants to come watch that, then we'll see you there.
Nice.
Yeah,
For me, I
on
do
camera.
less coaching myself now. You can get access to me and all the other coaches, including Dan and Sam at Sigma Society. Just DM me, Jordan Knope on Instagram, and I'll talk to you about that. If you want to do personal coaching with me, you can, but it's probably a better use of your money to just go there. But yeah, it's been awesome.
I didn't know you were doing that. I know Marcus.
Oh yeah, no,
Are
I've
you
been
both
running that
still-
sales team, and then I hop on and do one coaching call a week. But I've been running that sales team for the past year now.
You still part of it, Marcus?
Yeah, man. Still part of it, coaching over there. So yeah, if anyone's interested in that, come join us.
We got a link in the description. You guys know I love affiliate links because I outsource a lot of fucking.
Oh, motherfucker. Yeah, I need to send you. I don't know if I've sent it to you already. My bootcamp shit. I got stuff coming
Yeah,
up. So I'll send you the.
Have Sam make an affiliate link.
We got Jordan's school group in the description. We got Marcus's boot camps in the description. Anyone else watching or anyone here, you can drop me your affiliate links. That way I can make money on everyone's sales.
Yeah, exactly. Yay!
It's just funny how my
that
business
way we can
model
get
has
him cut
changed.
in.
But there we go. Thanks for dropping in. Catch you guys on the other side. We're not going for 24 hours. I got food to eat this time.
Soft.
Great meeting you guys.
End of stream. Game on.